of Eastern Europe. And here's Team Secret came into this tournament as one of the favourites to lift the Aegis, and you better believe they're ready to meet those expectations. They are led by 10-time TI attendee and former champion Puppy, and they're one of the most dynamic, flexible teams in the world. They are ready for anything, and they're especially ready to win. Can they resist the weight of expectation dragging them down today, or will they take their rightful place amongst the legends that have come before them? Well, on the spirit side of things, Captain Miposhka there is ready to take his team into the draft. But before we talk about Team Spirit, let's hear from them.
Наверное, те, кто говорят, что, точнее, фраза, типа, что люди начинают играть в International, это просто, можно ее переформулировать, как люди начинают играть эмоциями. Типа, они не особо стараются уже как-то разумно думать, там, рассчитывать и логически что-то продумать. Они больше на эмоции начинают, играть на эмоциях, типа, как-то плюс-минус на автомате, потому что, какое-то волнение и давление, оно все равно всегда присутствует, и люди, у которых не получается с этим хорошо справиться, они на это сильно отвлекаются, и их как бы часть разума затмится, скажем так, и их не получается много времени уделять игре, и как-то в целом просто мысли не складываются, и, соответственно, вот. Короче, как мне кажется, International — это просто тот турнир, где максимально сложно становится сдерживать свои эмоции, вот, и чем больше ты в этом плане развит, чем лучше в плане контроля своих чувств, эмоций и все такое, тем лучше ты будешь играть. Вот. Если ты сможешь во время игры не просто там типа да-да-да, go, давай этого, а говорить типа про себя, что типа что я должен сделать, кого там прыгнуть, кого убить, кто меня может убить, как мне действовать в драке и прочее. Если вот такие вещи получается проговаривать, а это вот на таких турнирах вообще порой непросто, то я думаю, вот такие вот люди, они и будут добиваться больших результатов на таких турнирах.
It's interesting hearing Miposhka talk about emotions there, because yesterday, talking to Mira in the post-game interview, I asked about how they reacted to the Yutoro rampage, his second of the entire tournament. And Mira said that basically they were all celebrating, and Miposhka said, guys, we still haven't won yet. And I think that's one of the things about Miposhka that people don't realise. It's obviously not just about what he's bringing to the field. It's also the fact that he's got a wiser, mature head on his shoulders. You could say he's 24. I mean, their youngest player, Yutoro, is just 18 years old. And he's leading them so well, way beyond expectations. However, I do want to talk about him, particularly his bane. You know what? We've got Yutoro on screen. He's shaved his head off. We'll talk about Miposhka in a bit. We've got Yutoro here. He has played 19 different heroes here at TI. 12 unique heroes in the 12 main event games. This is insane, particularly the Drow Ranger Purge.
Yeah, it looked a little bit weak in early stages of the game, as Drow Ranger typically does, but in later stages she can be really effective due to cutting through base armor, kind of similar to that ET effect, and Yutoro's clearly been the most impressive. Like 2 rampages at main stage when there's only been 4 in history ever. He's got like a 1 out of 6 chance of getting a rampage, and when you get a rampage, kill the whole team, that's a lot of gold advantage. Normally you don't see teams win fights that soundly, so he's been playing great.
And I am wondering, is this man out-draftable? Well, we're soon going to find out, because we're heading to the draft panel momentarily as we get this underway.
Team Spirit versus Team Secret. Game 1.
Welcome to the first draft of the day. It's Team Spirit, it's Team Secret. We have a angel lineup here of Jenkins, BSJ, and Avaplus to analyze this draft. How are you, my gentlemen? Great.
Fantastic.
Great. Now we have a draft, but before we get into it, I want to ask for expectations from this game. BSJ.
High tempo on both sides. That's what I'm looking for. Low cooldown, all run at you brawl. I think the only longest cooldown we'll see here is Tidehunter, potentially. That was Jenkins' courageous pick going into
I believe Tidehunter will receive a pick or a ban, and if Team Secret don't ban it, it will be Spirit's first choice.
Okay.
What about
Because
Mars?
of Collapse?
No. Yep, because of Collapse. It's their favorite guy. I know people like to see Collapse on something that's cooler, something
Mars?
that's more high skill, let's say. But it's been a classic for them throughout this tournament. They've kind of rested their hopes and dreams on the shoulders of this Tidehunter, and it's worked out for them. But so has the Mars, the Collapse Mars with the armlet, with the hitting the spears, no Blink Dagger. That looked really great as well.
With viewers that have missed other days, haven't seen the grace of Tidehunter, BSJ, can you tell us why he's such a great hero?
Team fight always comes into play at TI, and Tidehunter is just the easiest hero to execute. The Kraken Shell makes it almost impossible to burst you down. We're seeing specific lineups and specific combos that are crafted just to remove that. And yesterday we saw like a Silver Edge, Tiny, we've seen that deal with it. We've seen Disruptors, Dooms. PA got picked exclusively for the Fan of Knives Ag Shard purchase that Team Spirit did. That was a way they bursted down the tide. Just a crucial hero in this meta that simplifies your game plan.
And there's another hero that we've been seeing a lot, Magnus.
Yeah, this is a great one. We've talked about it a lot. We've talked about it with Seb and all the pro players that have been here. And the biggest theory around Magnus is that during TI, team fighting is incredibly important. BKBs are incredibly important. Magnus is great at dealing with both of those things because of reverse polarity. But probably the biggest thing is the fact that if you have this kind of structured, you're standing on a high ground, you're just like playing with this formation, Magnus just breaks it. He just goes in there, tosses you up with his horn, and then skewers you 20,000 feet away. And it's like, good luck holding a formation when you're in the enemy fountain.
That's true. We heard the counter to it is Yule Scepters as well as Force Staffs. That's the way, if you Force Staff or any force movement on Mag when he skewers, it will cancel the skewer effectively, and whoever's getting skewered will stop moving. So we have to keep an eye out for that as a way for Team Spirit to prevent what we saw happen to OG, where Sumail started sieging the tier 3s, and suddenly he's in the fountain.
Ended up in the fountain. Yeah, that was rough. The cooldown is really like the big thing for me, where Mag is in and out and in and out. It's like, so you start off this chaotic fight by breaking the formation, and then because your formation is broken, it's like it gives the Magnus a second opportunity to skewer you into an even worse position because this chaotic fight has started, and Magnus just loves chaos.
Team Spirit goes for an emblematic combo, Io plus Mars. Purge made a whole segment about these combos, how strong it is, how they win lanes with this. And it's not going to be Jenkins type, but it's going to actually be the Mars instead.
Yeah, the nice thing about the IO is most of the offlaners that have been building Armlet have some sort of innate sustain, such as the Legion Commander, and it didn't really seem like a viable build on Mars. The reason why Armlet's being picked up so much is it's been buffed several times. It's 75 damage for any strength hero when it's activated, and the IO allows the Mars to actually use it, and they've been putting a lot of pressure on the tower with that, taking it really early, something Mars doesn't always do. And you also have a built-in crit with your bulwark, or God's Rebuke, excuse me.
And the like infinite sustain too with Mars. I remember like one of the best ways to win a lane on Mars, and the reason that like at least when he was first added to the game, people were like, this hero doesn't lose lanes, even to get something that's a lane dominator like Elder Titan, like Slark, like Ursa, these sorts of heroes that just punch you and lane dominate you. You have 2 nukes. You just spam your nukes with regen, and so people were building a bottle back then against these counters, and the IO just makes it so that you don't need any regen. So you've got that combo in the laning stage. It also means the Mars has the mobility so you can build into the armlet. You have the sustain so you can build into the armlet. And what do you want with an IO? You want a hero that can set up a team fight somewhere for you on the other side of the map. So if they pick a carry with this, Mars can set up with his ult into Spear, and then IO can relocate the carry in, and all of a sudden you've got this huge disruptive team fight, which IO loves.
Yeah, you were mentioning the Tide coming into this series, and the thing about Mars is the way Collapse adapted it is he kind of turns into a Tide. Like he doesn't rely on the blink, surprise, Yule, spears. He's more of a guy. I walk in, I dare you to go on me. if you don't go on me, we take control of this area, whether it's Roche or the triangle.
Yeah,
and if you do go on me,
fourth item.
he just arenas because he's so tanky, and suddenly you're trapped in there with him. So it's like a pseudo stun, more of a crowd control that lasts much longer than most ultimates.
He was being so patient with the Mars ults yesterday, and I was really impressed by that just because I feel like traditionally, and I know it's a relatively new hero, but for the hero's entire existence, it's the initiation. You start with the Mars ult. It's not this thing that you hold off on like the Tidehunter ulti. But that's also how Tide started. Tide was an initiator. You call Tide an initiator these days, you sound like an idiot. It's a counter initiator. You wait for a fight to start, then you hit a big Ravage. And so Collapse is kind of doing that with the Mars ulti as well.
Yeah, we've seen actually this transition in a couple other heroes. Legion Commander was in the same pool of buy Blink first. People realized Blink first pretty bad. You need stats. Now we're seeing Armlet Legion. Before we're seeing Pipe as well. So it's maybe that's just the best offlaner to play, really. A third core, not just someone that can go in and stun someone.
Yeah, I think at the very least, having that in your toolbox for what you can do on the hero and knowing when you can do it like that. So, like, you can obviously still play Mars as an initiator. Tidehunter as well. We've seen blinks into Ravages on literally just a solo carry. So you're effectively, it's like, at that point, it's a lion stun. Which sounds terrible for like a 200-second cooldown ability or whatever.
But you need to.
But sometimes that's what you have to do. And so having these different options available to you is what makes a hero stronger as the game progresses and people get better.
Let's talk about a different hero here, the ET, also a very popular pick. Thoughts on this with the ET Magnus? We have seen ET kind of carry games with his Empower plus the Cleave talent.
Yeah, I think the difference between ET and what we saw yesterday when Team Spirit ran Mars IO against IG was the IG had an Abaddon 5, which is a support that to do his job has to be right next to everybody because all of his abilities are really low cast range. So I think the ET is not only good for all the reasons ET is already really good, but the fact that Mars Arena probably isn't going to trap him. He's not going to get caught if he eventually gets an Ags, gets played as a 4 position maybe.
You just ult into it.
Yeah, you cast all your spells from outside of it, so it shouldn't affect him at all, which makes the pick even better.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but this is something that maybe this is because I'm like a bad ET player, but I noticed that people are using the ET ult at like max range now, so that way the moment that splitter hits you, it pops, and so it's catching people. Like, they're using it with setups.
Yes.
Whereas before, I remember it used to be like ETs would kind of walk into melee range and then ult, and then it was this like slow thing that you had to have setup for. Speaking of setup, that's a hero.
Crazy. We have not seen this hero much. We have not seen much success on this hero at all. Only small buffs, like the dual breath, for example, cast point got buffed. Now it's harder for Rubik to counter it.
The Liquid Fire also got buffed, though.
Yeah, Liquid Fire got
pretty
small buffs.
significantly.
This was an unplayed hero until now. This is literally just an unplayed hero.
During the main event, because it was definitely picked in the group.
Oh, sorry, for the last week. So yeah, during the main event.
Okay.
And then
there's the Rubik counter.
Rubik counter.
There it is.
That's funny. Okay. Yeah, it's such a good hero. And another really like low played hero is the Rubik, at least in the main event. And so it's a great hero to steal a bunch of spells from. You've got a stun, if you steal the Macro Pyre, you've got like the extra range on it, the extra damage on it.
You want to steal Ice Path, though.
Ice Path is like, that is the creme de la creme of spells. But Jakiro, I really do think the buff to the Q and it being such a low cast point is a huge upgrade. I remember talking to like Owie after the hero got changed, and he was like, yeah, I think like Jakiro's an offlaner now. Like, Jakiro's good enough that you can play it in the offlane.
Mage Slayer.
Just because of that buff. Yeah, Mage Slayer. Honestly, even Dragonlance or something that. And his what's the tower damage? Liquid Fire. Liquid Fire is a lot of damage at level 1 too. Like, it does a ton now. So you can actually siege with this hero as well from a 5 position.
Yeah, the Storm is necessary for Team Spirit's lineup, as the Jakiro, usually they'll pick something like Disruptor or Bane from Aposhka here, but instead, since they don't have as much setup for the relocate, the Mars is most likely going to be with the IO for the early portion of the game. You do need a mid laner that's going to be that setup. Storm Spirit's been the best one so far this tournament, I think, especially for Toronto, Tokyo. The Terrorblade, really nice lane matchup against the Mars. You can eventually tank the spear with your illusions. The spear will do damage to multiple targets, but it'll only impale one target. So you can tank those in the early laning stage, and then also Terrorblade's like a pseudo ranged hero in the laning phase. So ET front lines for you. You'll be able to hit a lot more on the Metamorphosis. But they're super greedy on Team Spirit. On Team Secret. You have Magnus Terrorblade. That's a pretty weak mid game.
Big damage though, huge late game damage, like borderline unbeatable, just because of the Empower buff on top of the TB base damage. I actually don't mind the idea on Spirit of sending the Jakiro against the ET TB lane. I feel like that would do extremely well. It's weird because it breaks up the Io Mars combination, but an ET is never going to run at you if he has a Jakiro slow on him. And the Terrorblade, this is a hero that has really high armor and also wants to right-click you, so you've got the attack slow with the Jakiro spell, as well as tons of magic damage, right? So maybe they'll do that, but we've fought that before with some IO combination, and then teams just don't like to break up the IO from whatever the pairing is, whether it's Slaughter or Mars.
Spirit especially. I want to point out, though, that this is a TB that's picked into a Storm and a Jakiro, so a fair amount of magical damage in that mid-game. Not too difficult to burst him down, and this could play into BSJ's point about it being quite greedy. There's going to be a power spike for Team Spirit that's kind of hard to deal with for Secret right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering about their carry matchup, because Terrorblade ET covers a lot of heroes. Usually you want like a melee strength hero that buys armor against ET because he only removes base armor, but then those heroes like Sven are pretty bad versus the Terrorblade in a 1v1.
Really? Because
Yeah.
some teams had the theory months ago that was the Sven was actually the
That was the patch that Sven was like
Yeah, that's true.
completely busted as well.
Ursa's banned, Monkey King's banned,
I'm leaning
Tiny's
towards, like,
banned.
Troll looks like the best hero for me from Team Spirit that's
Troll-
left.
Troll Jakiro sounds insanely strong against like literally anything you can put in
That's
the
true.
offlane. Like you would basically need a Purge hero, but it's Team Secret's pick, so that's not you're not going to get that unless you're preempting the Troll.
They might go for the Quap. Oh no, they banned the Quap. How about Lena? Something to lane dominate the Storm? Death
yeah,
Prophet?
that makes sense.
Oh, okay, of course.
So they go for like the game counter then. Like that's fine in the lane because you just nuke it out, and then the game counter is that you have the Yule Scepter to catch the Storm.
And there's going to be a Spectre then. It does fulfill a couple of the things you're talking about. Not the most agi carry per se. The armor is not what makes Spectre strong. She still has her passives. And even though her core to core against TB is bad, she can avoid him in fights.
They
That's the
also
goal.
have a lot of jump and magic
Yeah.
burst on the side of Team Spirit, and it wasn't. If it's not quite enough to bring down a Terrorblade, suddenly he's going to get that Sunder, turn the entire fight. The Spectre offers that little bit of extra damage with the Ags that now cast the dagger, so it's an extra 300 damage
Yep.
coming in from the Spectre. They rely completely on map control in Team Spirit, and it's going to come down to collapse because Storm Spectre super greedy in the laning stage, and we saw yesterday that collapse was able to get them through that early to mid game. So that's the hero I'm looking out for here.
Yeah, I agree. I think Spirit wants to make sure that they're shutting down the Terrorblade because they have good ways of mitigating the Terrorblade and not taking damage from him, like the Mars Bulwark, for example. But they don't have great ways of killing him once he gets like the Satanic Scotty sort of thing. So like once he has those items, I could see Team Secret completely popping off. But Team Spirit wants to pop off in the laning stage and with the rotations around the map, as opposed to just like in team fights.
So there's going to be a small window opportunity for Spirit to be able to pop off and destroy Secret before they can get
Definitely, and Secret just wants to farm their own
It's
side of the
like
map.
25 to 40 minutes is all Spirit, and I think as you go on from there, Team Secret will take it.
I don't even need to send it to you for the last word. Now I got it already for free.
There you go, easy.
That's incredible. All right, so what can Secret do to prevent this early pop-off? What's their best bet?
I really do think it's holding their tier 1 towers. You got Mag, you got Terrorblade, you just need space on the map to farm, but we saw the collapse Armlet Mars, we have the Jakiro coming into play. I think if you can pick on Toronto, Tokyo, and perhaps Yatoro, it'll make them have to commit resources on the side of Team Spirit in order to protect them rather than be on the aggressive, and I think that's the best way they can do it.
A lot's riding on Nisha because he's like the only active hero in the early game. Even the supports are not so active. They're good plus ones. Like they're good at running at places with Nisha, but Nisha is like the absolute baseline for everything Team Secret wants to do.
And now we're going to send it not to the last word, but it is going to be to Silent regardless, as Sir Action Slack is standing there with Team Spirit's coach. Tell us about their draft.
Thank you so much. Sir, Rubik picked up on the other team. One of Yapsor's favorite, a traditional counter to Jakiro. Do you feel like you've done a good enough job preventing him from winning?
I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm still satisfied with our draft, and I think we can play this game.
Were you surprised that they let Collapse the Giga Chad get his favorite Mars?
Oh, I think it's a passive from Popeye, He always can give you your best hero, and trying to counter him. Sometimes his passive procs and he wins, maybe not.
Well, maybe. We'll see, my friend. Best of luck in game one, and we'll jump right into it with Cinderin and Sunsfan.
Thank you very much. Slack, Secret versus Team Spirit, game one of this lower bracket finals of TI-10. Cinderin, welcome. Surprised to see you here.
Yeah, just as surprised to see you here, if not more. But here we are.
Thank you.
Yeah, this will be a great series, of course. So much on the line here for both teams, and I think, we like to talk a little bit about the mental game in situations like this. I think for Team Spirit, you've kind of exceeded expectations. Teams like those are really dangerous in this position because Team Spirit kind of, in a way, have nothing to lose, right? I think going into the tournament, if you ask them, hey, would you guys want to take third place and not play, they would have said yes in a heartbeat, right? Because it's like the field is so competitive and getting that position for their team was already incredible. So now everything is just icing on top. And they're just going further and further in this. It's reminding you of certain runs from previous events at TI, right? Like TI6 with DC, with TI8 OG going the whole way. You know, teams that people didn't necessarily think were even going to make top 8, right?
Yeah.
And suddenly you find yourself in this position.
To give Team Spirit some credit, like DC, we were picked to be like 12th range. OG, by some people, were picked to be last. Spirit, people thought they would be in the middle, probably, like 8. I think I picked them 6th coming in because I really like the way that they play. But yeah, you're right. Either way, still the underdog mentality. I'm sure they have that chip on their shoulder. But kind of what the panel has talked about so much before, that such a young lineup overall that just makes things like really exciting for the future for the Eastern European region in general.
And then on the other side, you have Team Secret, who have kind of, you know, TI has almost been a kryptonite in a way, and it's weird to say because this team has had so many LAN victories across the previous years and have just looked dominant year after year in so many tournaments, and TI has just not been it.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm trying to remember, I think at TI6 they got 13 to 16, and then they've like taken one step up the ladder every year, and now it looks like finally it could be within reach, and that can be both, you know, can both put some pressure on you that you feel so close, and at the same time probably also a bit of relief that finally this year for Puppy things are just clicking with the squad.
Yeah.
And they're looking like a very hot contender for even the whole thing. We've got to get through Team Spirit first. And Spirit, like they talked about, have some of their trademark heroes here. We've got Collapse on the Mars. I believe I saw a stat the other day from the Haas on Twitter that Collapse was 6-2 with Mars. And every other player at TI combined was 7-25 outside of him.
It
so
doesn't surprise me. We've
that's
talked about
pretty
how
incredible.
This hero has just fallen off so much since the Animajor, except for Team Spirit. I don't know what he does. I mean, he buys the armlet.
Well, right now he dies.
From Matu in that disgusting form of his, and the right clicks from Puppy. It looks like it's going to be enough. So first blood goes the way of Team Secret.
Well, taking full advantage of hitting level 2 first here with the ET and Terrorblade combination, getting the reflection as well as Metamorphosis running. And they will take that. It's a nice start for Puppy. In the mid lane, Nisha is going up against Toronto Tokyo, Void Spirit against Storm. I think this is a pretty even lane. Nisha is
well for Nisha, though.
Nisha's been looking incredible in lane. He was also doing great against Nothing to Say in the series yesterday in the upper bracket, the upper bracket finals. I think in many ways, maybe together with Somnus, I think perhaps the standout just 1v1 mid laner of the tournament. Somnus obviously running some incredible stats, but unfortunately their team did not place very well.
Yeah.
And then finally top lane Zai and Yapstar. This is a classic lane for Secret to play, the Rubik +1, where both heroes have some sort of wave clear. A lot of the time what they're going to do is just push in the wave with Shockwave as well as Fate Bolt, so that they can try to pull hard camp and prevent the enemy team from pulling small. Obviously both camps have been blocked this far. But Miposhka this time is going to leave the big... Wait. It's still inside the camp. Okay, it looked like it wasn't, but it's not going to spawn either.
Oh. How about the lineups as a whole? Because Team Secret, they have a lot of team fight. Obviously the RP, the Earth Splitter, they have a good Roche. Well, not to kill it as fast as some other lineups that we've seen, but good counter Roche potential at the very least with a lot of these heroes.
Yeah, neither team is very good at killing it.
Yeah,
their lineup is more teamfight centric, whereas I would say Spirit's lineup can do it to an extent with Arena and Jakiro, as well as Haunt, but their lineup really thrives on more skirmish style play, on splitting the map and then finding picks, because they do have Relocate, Haunt, as well as Storm. It doesn't get much more global than this. Bottom lane.
Yep, telekinesis into the skewer, back into the fray for the tier 1 tower. Miposhka taking heavy damage. Shockwave keeps him at bay again. Yapzor and Zai not able to get a kill there, but you can see that Matu actually finishes off Collapse again. It's going to be a trade, though. They actually kill each other, technically speaking.
Collapse got the kill first, so I think he's going to be pretty happy with this.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Getting some more experience, but Matsu is a full level ahead of him as it stands right now, and Puppy as well as Mira have the same experience, so basically a full level advantage for Team Secret in that bottom lane. One of the worst starts I think we've seen in a while for Collapse on that Mars.
Yeah.
So Gotta be slightly concerning for him. Keep in mind this matchup in the lane, by the way, the Mars against Terrorblade, is pretty interesting because Mars, you have one magic damage component in the spear, but everything else you have is physical, and Terrorblade has so much armor. So, can definitely stand his ground a lot of the time and fight, and Puppy is just, being a bully as well.
In terms of like the mid to late game scope here, Cinderin, how do you like Spectre in a game like this? Obviously, the hero comes online a lot faster than, for people that haven't watched a ton of Dota in the last couple months. Historically speaking, more so a late game hero, but now you kind of get ramped up a little bit sooner thanks to the Ags that I would assume he goes for.
I think it has okay conditions here. I wouldn't say it's an outstanding Spectre game. I think the primary purpose for a large part of the game will be to haunt, to give Storm vision to jump and kill Rubik or ET. I think that's how Spirit opened up the fights. In terms of just a flat-out team fight structure, Spectre doesn't fare very well against Terrorblade, but that's not what Team Spirit are going for anyway. Bottom lane.
Yeah, Miposhka, Astro Step's going to connect from Nisha. That's going to be an easy kill for Secret here. Bot lane, Mira is still connected with Collapse, who, like you said, off to a little bit slower start. But I mean, if this was any other Mars, like, oh, they're actually doing pretty good. Not too bad, considering this hero is just so unpicked. Or I guess just the win rate more specifically. Not doing too hot. Matu, 28 and 12 in terms of his actual CS, and then 30 and 8 for Yataro. What are the chances, Cinderin, of another Rampage for Yataro in this series?
They're not good, I'll say. I think
based on his percentage, pretty good, right?
Team Spirit's chances of winning the game are good, but yeah, Spectre finding a Rampage in a game like this would be pretty unexpected. There's just... it's
That's
more
not
like
a word, by the way. Puppy getting harassed here. Good effort, though, Cinderin. I just had to correct you.
What's that?
Unexpectable is not a word.
It is now.
Okay. Teaching English to the masses, Cinderin.
There's nothing better than inventing words.
I mean, I agree with that.
Yatoro is going to get run a bit at here by Zai and Yapsor, but obviously has already got that level 6, so yeah, he's doing great in the safe lane. He has very good conditions here. I think Secret aren't too phased by it, though, because they've also, got what they wanted. Magnus is getting a good start, almost has the Helm of the Dominator here, does Zai. And of course their safe lane counterpart doing well too. And let's not forget Empower for a hero like Terrorblade. Yes, he goes into ranged form when he pops Metamorphosis, but he also has really high base damage. And that means that Empower percentage-based improvement is pretty significant for Terrorblade's ability to win fights.
I mean, still obviously really good when he's in melee form too, right? You don't have to pop meta or anything like that. You actually farm at a higher clip than you're used to as a Terrorblade. As Nisha has the haste rune bottled up right now. Toronto Toki just trying to push out the wave. And, well, we can see Electric Vortex. Toronto Tokyo pressuring a bit, but doesn't have any backup, so likely not to go for a kill here. We'll be getting a D-ward, though. And top net worth Nisha, like you said, off to a really good start for him. 600 difference between the mids in terms of just the gold discrepancy here.
Yeah, that kill he found earlier onto the Jakiro definitely adds up. Their CS is roughly the same, but Nisha does have 10 more denies than Toronto Tokyo, so a bit of a level advantage. Aiming for the bottom rune here. Yapsar's come over as well, but Toronto Tokyo still got the rune, actually. Nisha a little bit off the mark with the timing on his Aether Remnant. He's going to be very happy with that on the Storm. Unfortunately for him, it was an illusion rune, so not exactly what you want. You would have loved either a Regen or an Arcane rune, you would imagine there, or even a Haste. Early on could be pretty nice for Storm. Double damage, basically anything else.
True. Nisha working on a Yule Scepter for himself. I assume that Toronto Tokyo will end up going for Orchid, but obviously the Yules is going to end up countering that to some degree.
Yeah.
All right, when you can get a Yules and it has multi-purpose, not just for the Dispel, but setting up your own Aether Remnant, just such a good pickup this game.
It's a feel-good item for Void Spirit for sure. Little detail there from Nisha, by the way. I think he's trying to fish for a ward mid. Wonder if he's going to find the one that was placed on his half as a result of that. Storm is perhaps going to make a move. Toronto Tokyo will be farming up the stacks for now. Has the potential to make a move top if he wants to.
Yeah, that is a pretty juicy stack to be taken here. And Toronto Tokyo looks like he's going to get most of it, if not all. No pressure being set here from Team Secret as of yet. Although they do have a two-man smoke on the way towards the top lane here. As Nisha ready to try to get some kills now. Starting to ramp things up. Mira not quite level 6, so can't relocate top as of yet. And we'll see what the tower defense is going to be for Team Spirit, if any. Because we've seen some teams just give this up super early. We've seen a lot of contests, more so than in previous patches.
Zai's kind of baiting Yatoro here to try to go for his creep so that they can get the opener. Yeah, but we'll be spotted out by the illusion here. I think both Yapzor as well as Nisha. Nisha might not have been envisioned yet. He's going to try for it.
Yeah, Yatoro doesn't have mana. He has the wand to be able to haunt successfully. If he really wants to. Is Nisha. All right, there comes Mira. Hooked up with Toronto Tokyo, but Nisha needs to get out. It looks like he'll do so successfully, at least for now. Yatoro continuing to pursue, though. Very hard to catch up to Nisha for sure here, as Toronto Tokyo has the horsey ready to go. Double damage bottled as well, so we'll see if he wants to get active.
That was a multi-purpose mid TP. That was pretty nice.
We have a haunt coming out. Mira looks like he's going to get dropped by Nisha. Yataro in the meantime taking out Puppy, so it's a 1-for-1 on just the supports. Maposhka in the trees will likely fall next, although Yataro has something to say about that potentially. Coming in from the downside of the trees here. Still going for that Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, Toronto Tokyo might want to do something here with the DD.
Fine. Yeah, skewer out to safety for Toronto Tokyo with that double damage. RP onto 2! Beautifully timed from Zai into the fade. Well, that is going to be a super easy kill of Toronto Tokyo. And now Yataro not reciprocating the high five at all. Trying to TP out. Oh my god, how much HP did he have? Barely gets out. But still, Secret obviously would have loved to get that kill. Either way, we'll get the Storm Spirit and probably the Tier 1 tower to boot.
Great play from Zai, though. I don't think Toronto Tokyo was expecting that RP to come in instantaneously like that, but that just sets things up. You had Yapzor sitting out in the tree line on the left for the extra damage from Fade Bolt, and this is something that Secret have played 100,000 times. The Rubik 4. You can always count on Yapzor to be involved at the right place at the right time. And this is going to put Secret in a very good position right now. 2k gold lead. And effectively not allowing Team Spirit to do what their lineup likes to do at this point in time in the game, right? Like, you ideally want to find some sort of opening with the Storm and then haunt onto it and find these picks, but Secret were kind of dictating the pace. So Storm TP'd mid to defend the tower and take the DD rune. Okay,
Zai. He's going to skewer to safety for now. Is Nisha coming from the backside? Looks like they're just going to focus on Maposhka to start things out. Going to be a relatively easy one for Secret to clean up. Mira attempting to TP out, will not be able to do so. Toronto Tokyo on the run with very little mana to speak of. So 2-0 here for Secret. But Toronto Tokyo at the very least gets a regen for his troubles. And Collapse, as we can see, has his armlet in tow. Just buys armlet on every single hero, it feels like. And
on every single Mars.
Every single Mars. No, he buys it. Oh, that was you that bought on Storm Spirit. My bad, buddy.
Hey, that was ARDM.
Yeah, true.
I started building a Midas, and I was like, wait, this game is way too short for Midas. What can I use my Gloves of Haste for?
Yeah.
That
Good
was
choice.
a mistake. I should have just bought Dagon like everyone else. Tryhards in a show match. Well, whatever.
Yeah, Dagon Tryhard, no doubt.
It's very good in ARDM in a show match,
I'm
believe
told.
it or not.
All right, Yataro
At least I
has
didn't
the
like being
play.
like solo. Okay, let's move on.
That's true. That was pretty bad manners for sure. As Collapse in the mid lane now. And working toward... I mean, he went for Blink Dagger pretty late, I want to say in the last series, but prioritizing a little bit earlier than what we're used to seeing on him. But still quite a ways away from finishing it, so... But once they get that, they'll have their initiation in addition to the Haunt and Zip-In from Storm.
1,500 gold is quite a long time in a game like this, though.
Yeah.
Secret doing such a good job at just pushing out the waves and controlling the flow of the game. Both Matu and Nisha are top net worths. Obviously, the Terrorblade has been largely uncontested, primarily because of, first of all the action in the top half of the map, but also he pushed that mid tower earlier with himself and in Metamorphosis form, forced Storm to TP there to defend that tower and take the DD rune, and then he backed off and farmed, and eventually that led to Secret winning the fight top because Storm couldn't connect, and that in turn builds up more space for himself later to just be greedy in the jungle. So, like, just kind of a domino effect that he started himself with a push in mid can make a huge difference. Nice cure from Zai. They're just barely getting out.
Oh, the Zip is stolen from Yapzor. Very annoying to deal with as a Storm Spirit. Nisha, he's going to get initiated by Toronto Tokyo, though. Here comes Zai to try to help out. RP is being faked out here. Toronto Tokyo basically uses most of his mana to try to zip away there. ends up being somewhat of a stalemate here, but Team Secret still with a pretty decent lead at the 14.5-minute mark.
Yeah, it genuinely just feels like Spirit really wants to kill someone, and they just can't. The heroes that are being offered up to them, they don't have the most damage in their lineup if they don't all connect together.
Yeah.
And Secret are very tight-knit when it comes to these team moves that they're making. There's always the protection of the Rubik, of the ET, of the Mag. And it's only going to get easier for them when Zai approaches his Blink Dagger very soon, so looking very good for them. Interestingly, for Spirit, top net worth actually currently the Mars, but that might change
might be
now.
in some trouble here. Telekinesis in the midst of all this chaos. He's trying to run away, but Matu is able to get credit for that kill and the tier 1 tower as well. So Team Secret off to quite the good start here. And like you said, Zai not too far away from Blink Dagger. Collapse still like 1,200 away from finishing his. And I feel like the Blink Dagger on Collapse plus the Ags on Yataro are the two big, like, that's the power spike that you're probably going to try to get a little bit more aggressive from Team Spirit's perspective.
For sure. My concern for them right now is we've seen a similar strategy to this being run by IG earlier in the tournament. I don't remember who was on the receiving end of a game where they absolutely stomped, but I don't know how well this dire strategy is going to fare from this far behind. Like, if you're basing your strategy off finding these picks and playing quick, and you have 2 kills after 16 minutes, what could eventually end up happening is that Secret just find their item timings, group up, take Roche, and then push high ground, and you don't get to play that separation fight whatsoever. Storm Spirit looking for the bottom rune. Will not get it. It was a regen top for Nisha, so losing the flip there.
Let me ask you this question. Who do you think there's more pressure on, team-wise?
Secret.
Secret have all these high expectations. They have a lot of veteran players. Team Spirit's just like kind of YOLOing it to some degree. That's kind of how the DC mentality was at TI6, so I can definitely relate to some degree.
I think that's a good thing for Spirit. Like, that they can just, they can play free. Like we talked about earlier, they've exceeded expectations already, so now, everything is just a bonus, and they're just enjoying the ride and playing amazingly good Dota for the last couple of days of the main event here. And I feel like the thing about this game for them is they have not had this bad of a start in a single game at the main stage, I think. So you gotta try to find some sort of recovery path. When your team has been used to just having the momentum in all of these games, you're like doing great, you're feeling yourselves, you're making moves, they're just working, and now you're hitting like a brick wall basically 17 minutes in, and here's the play from Secret we were talking about, right? Just group up and take Roche. Like, what are Team Spirit really going to do about this? Nothing, it seems. They probably know it's happening, but aren't interested.
This is a pretty slow Roche based on what some of the Roches we've seen at this tournament. But regardless, Secret will get it successfully, so that is an Aegis for Matu, who's closing in on, I believe, his Scotty here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Just a point booster away, essentially.
I think they might go high ground with that, no joke. If he gets Scotty and they just go push top, perhaps they can look to end the game. They don't have to, obviously. It's not a requirement for their lineup, but they do hit a very, very strong timing soon. Zai with the dagger complete. Maybe you wait for the Ags on Void Spirit, but that might not overlap with your Aegis timer anymore then, because he's like 2,000 away. We'll see what the choice is for Secret, but for now, still just very calm. Pushkin Nisha. Haste goes to Toronto, Tokyo. He does have the Kaya Sanj, so...
Okay. And they do have the Blink on Collapse, and they have the Ags on Yatara. So
they want to do something here for sure, and there's the smoke. Maybe they'll try to find Matsu. He will have the Aegis, though. And a Zai Magnus covering on the respawn.
Yep, wrapping around the Roche pit. Looks like Zai might be the
Sounds
first
like
one they run
Christmas
into.
song.
We're not going to do more Christmas songs here. Zai able to blink out to safety, along with the rest of his team. The Zippin from Toronto Tokyo is basically out of mana. Now Zai gets the skewer off, but it's on an illusion. In the meantime, a push gets picked off. There's the big arena coming through with the Earth Splitter to follow. Matu trying to go on top of Collapse. Will finally bring him down. The buyback down to the Jakiro. He's going to TP into the outpost. Matu still has that Aegis online. Looks like they're finally going to expend it here pretty soon. Toronto Tokyo might be happy with that engagement as Nisha. Looks like he's going to walk away safely. Matu still has that, use that Aegis. I mean, not Nisha in the meantime. Looks like they'll pick off Yataro. That is a really big kill, just away from his entire team here. I thought they were going to try to go for the Aegis and then just back off, but couldn't cleanly do so.
Yeah, they couldn't get Spectre out of that trouble in the mid lane. And yeah, effectively what Yatoro ended up doing there was keep the Rubik and Elder Titan at bay for most of the fight, right? But Oh, Toronto Tokyo. Straight in on Nisha. There's a good spear.
Nice spear from Collapse. Can they actually bring out Nisha? He gets off the Dissimulate Nisha. Another Aether Remnant buying him some time, but Toronto Tokyo is going to get Yules immediately, and basically out of mana to speak of. And Nisha, Astral Step not for another 4 seconds, actually trying to get aggressive here. Can they go back in? Zai gets in with the huge skewer onto 2, and they bring them down instantly. Team Secret clicking on all cylinders here.
I think it's called firing.
Clicking
on all their mouse buttons. All 2 of them.
Every button on their keyboard as Matu trying to go for this tier 2 tower here top, Cinderin.
It's going to get glyphed off, though. I don't think they're going to get it this time around. And yeah, even though Team Spirit do lose a lot in this engagement overall, which is a very extended one of the kind, at the very least the Aegis is down, and Secret will probably not force high ground, but the advantage is building. 7,000 gold lead now. And it just looks like it's going to keep going up unless Spirit can find, again, some sort of picks.
That combo is actually so sick.
Ice Path coming up
The
top.
tower is down, but the TP's coming in. Like you said, Matu's in a lot of trouble. So Yutaro jump in, but there comes Zai. He gets off the skewer into the telekinesis, but Toronto Tokyo is more than fine. Sunder on his teammate from Matu, trying to keep himself alive. Yaxor stealing the electric vortex, but Matu attempting to TP out. Will he be able to do so in time? Absolutely. Just no damage coming through. Zai uses the RP on the retreat as Puppy comes with all the right clicks. Toronto Tokyo getting extremely low in the meantime. They take out Io, and it looks like it'll be a trade for Zai's life at the very least, but Nisha's not done yet. He destroys Toronto Tokyo. He has so much mobility to work with. Nope, the Dissimulate not online in time. There comes the spear from Collapse. So Spirit at least gets something out of this, but they still lose Toronto Tokyo.
I think Nisha wasn't really expecting that spear to come in there, but Collapse obviously extremely confident on his Mars and caught him before the Dissimulate cast, so they get a nice extra kill there. Actually a really big streak to end Yotaro getting the 700 bonus gold from killing off the, what was that, monster kill streak on Nisha. So a little bit of the first good fight really here for Team Spirit. They doubled their kills from 3 to 6.
I didn't even realize their kill count was that low.
Yeah, it was not looking too hot. And it still isn't, but it's the first step of the way.
Collapse jumps in, looking for Yapsar. Toronto Tokyo makes his way here as well. They should be able to pick him off. It takes a little bit more effort than you would think, though, as Matu pops that meta, going on top of Mira now. Toronto Tokyo picks up the rune, but Mira not able to be saved here. Mapushka, that is the pig pulse Cinder, and I don't think it's going to save him this time. As Nisha comes in to finish him off. He does have the Aghanim Scepter, so Resonant Pulse has 2 charges, does more damage, and more importantly than anything, silences. And the question is, what dispels do they have for Team Spirit? I know BKB is being built for Collapse right now, but still quite a ways away.
It is a big concern for Toronto Tokyo for sure, that he's this far away from solving this Ags. Secret will definitely try to take advantage of this and just look to get on top of him in the fights with Void Spirit. Most of the fights so far that Team Spirit have taken, it's really been Toronto Tokyo leading the charge, going in first, finding some sort of vortex, and they try to pile onto that. That's very dangerous now if he doesn't see the Void Spirit, because that's an instant counterplay. Even though you have the status resist of Kai Assange, the double silence into RP or some sort of Rubik Lift, Echo Stump, whatever it is, will definitely kill him off. So has to be very careful with how he approaches this in this game.
And Matu closing in on a Satanic, not that far away. Yeah, can pick up the Reaver here pretty soon, and then just a 1,400 Claymore afterwards. I mean, you can see he is top of the net worth by quite the long shot right now. And things right now looking good for Secret. But
Collapse.
All right, we have the skewer in from Zion to Collapse. You can see the Horn Toss as well. Echo Stomp. Look at the layering from Team Secret, just masterfully done. And Collapse will get dropped as a result. Yotaro, he actually uses the Haunt. He's reality rifting all over the place. That's definitely not the ability name center. That is not CK, believe it or not. We have Maposhka's ult coming in from the high ground. Yotaro getting extremely low and is brought down again. Just a really weird fight from Spirit there. Looks like Maposhka at the very least will be able to live.
I think they were hoping to find Secret caught off guard there, but again, they're just tight, they're ready. They have the heroes there, and the opening from Collapse just gets instantly countered, and when they try to help him out, it's just not possible. Like, Secret are in a way too strong position there. Very easily make quick work of the Mars, and then Spectre with the Haunt. Like you said, maybe a little bit of a misstep, Miposhka.
Yeah, the horn toss into the RP. Toronto Tokyo will be able to get out, and Clash jumps in with a huge arena, taking out the Rubik to start things out. Matu getting extremely low. The Sunder on his teammate will live as a result, and Zai just burning down to Miposhka's dual breath. So Spirit having a really good defense here, as Satanic is picked up by Matu, but he's stuck in a lot of trouble here, Cinderin, and he's going to be brought down as well. Team Spirit, they're not done yet. They have Nisha in their sights, but you can see the silence coming out on Toronto Tokyo, who's not scared to pursue apparently, but probably should be.
Yeah, Nisha can kill him in 5 seconds here if he sticks around. He is thinking about it. He has some power still. All right, Collapse was looking for him.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
The blind spear, typical.
Oh, sometimes it hits.
For Collapse, it feels like it always does.
Yeah, true.
Great, despite
fight from
that,
Spirit.
yeah, that was a
You
very
fought
good
without
fight.
Spectre there. This was effectively a 4 and 5. Obviously, Secret's Hero is not in the best position, and this RP, the Ice Path from Miposhka, just saves everything there. If not for that, that's a dead storm, and they can just start piling on the kills here with the great combination. Another good Ice Path here, almost clipped Matumba as well. And honestly, in many ways, Secret, that could have even gone worse. Like, that was pretty close to losing Matu way earlier in the fight, and then they probably just cleaned up fully. At least now, Team Spirit had to expend quite a lot more resources on him.
He reminds me of
I'm
the dude.
Old.
You've never seen that movie?
Which movie?
The character's named
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't even let me finish. Great. As we have a pause here, this is the lower bracket finals, game number 1 between Secret and Team Spirit. And I would say Secret, on paper, is the favorite, but I said that yesterday with IG, and Spirit absolutely destroyed them. Momentum is a crazy thing, something that can't be really quantified, Cinderin.
For sure. Speaking of that, Secret obviously have a lot of it in this game, but that little last fight from Spirit could inspire some hope in them. According to Unki Gaben, a 3-1 favor for Secret right now. 75% win probability is what the algorithm gives them right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the big moment we're looking forward to in this game is the next Roche, which will largely decide a lot of the potential ending of the game around the 30 to 40 minute mark. And Aegis on Terrorblade going high ground here will be really nasty for Spirit to deal with. You saw how hard it is for them to kill him once. So the second time will prove to be very challenging, but they've done a really good job after a rough start to at least stay afloat. And with the Orchid on Spectre, maybe they have an approach into this game that we should be exploring a little bit more, because he can obviously haunt, and then he can go in and Orchid either the Rubik or the ET. Yapsor's Rubik does have a Ghost Scepter, so he's not going to kill him, but the Elder Titan, he could effectively zone out of the fight pretty much the entire way. Or go on the Magnus as well, would be very strong with the Orchid. So again, for Secret, it's really important to, stay close and cover each other against this Orchid from the Spectre. Okay, we're paused, Shannon. You know what time it is.
We're not going to be paused for long, Cinderin. It's too late. You had your chance, but you
It's
just
trivia
kept
time.
talking.
I get one question. One question.
Okay, go.
What is the name of the passive of Grove Bow?
There is none. It's a trick question.
Incorrect. It's called Magic Amp. It amplifies magic. You know it has a passive.
Wow. That's actually even more boring than I was imagining, and I had low expectations with that question, Cinderin.
Thank you.
Matu in the jungle right now. See, what's next on the list for him? He has the Finnish Satanic that we already saw, has the casual Yasha. Looks like it's going to be BKB. Does he not want Manta or even SNY this game?
I think it could make a case for even finishing a late SNY here to get the statuses, but I think BKB is just more powerful.
Oh, Zai was looking for him.
Didn't get the Horn Toss connection there.
Yeah. RP was still on cooldown for 5 seconds.
Maybe he thought he had it.
Seconds here.
Maybe he was trying to RP, but I think he was trying to Horn Toss.
Yeah.
Anyway, wasn't going to happen. Toronto Tokyo with the fresh BKB as well. Obviously, will be a much harder target for them to lock down now. And for Secret, you have a couple of options. I think primarily right now you want to protect the Roshan area and see if you can farm up the Terrorblade's BKB. If you line those two things up so you have Aegis and BKB going into the next fight, that would be crazy strong. If you aren't able to have both, I think, you could probably have the BKB in the fight will be centered around Roche, so you might need to contest for the Aegis.
Yeah.
So playing your triangle area right now seems very well advised. Just stay here, make sure you get all the camps on Terrorblade, while you keep pushing out the mid lane as well, and just leave bottom lane empty. It doesn't really matter right now at all. They're going to make their own smoke move, though. They're actually not waiting for either the BKB or the Roche. just going for it here. 30 seconds respawn left on Roche. Maybe they want to find a pick and then try to get Roche off of that. If they do find Yatoro, he will not have buyback, so he would be a huge find, but just barely stayed outside the observer ward that Secret have down there at the secret shop area that sees a little bit into the lane for a little bit of a glimpse there. He went right around it on spec. Or that
Feels like Spirit are kind of aware that Secret's up to something. Obviously completely off the map. And Secret don't have vision themselves, so
Roche
probably
has
assuming the same.
Spawned.
Second Roche available for the taking, so whoever wins this fight
will get a
likely
shot.
get it. I mean, depending on how many are alive, it would be pretty difficult to take Roche with either lineup still. Will require Matu at the very least for Secret.
Speaking of shard, keep in mind Rubik bought his. Pretty key item here, I think, to reposition people out of arena. When you get telekinesis, you get height. And if you have height, you can exit the arena, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why Slark can pounce out of it, for example, or Mirana can leap.
Yeah.
So I believe now any hero on Secret's lineup will be able to exit as long as they are pinned to the wall. Yapzor can toss them out, and that is a huge amount of damage mitigation technically for any hero in his team. So really cool, creative approach to this. We don't usually see him buy shard in this spot. Yapzor will generally buy, bigger items.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how that works. We don't get to see that often at all in pro matches.
Toronto Tokyo offering himself up a little bit here, but will back off. You can tell the tension here. Secret are just staying grouped up as 5 the whole time. And here comes the key item, Matu. Will be completing the Black King bar. It's flying out. He sold his one for this, obviously doesn't need the slot anymore, and they will use this BKB to try to claim Roche. He is so insanely far ahead of everyone else in this game on that Terrorblade right now.
Yeah.
Paladin Sword will go to the bank.
All right.
Keeps the Titan's liver. No surprise there for Terrorblade.
Indeed.
And into the Roche
perfectly crafted for Terrorblade. As you're right. He's going to attempt to solo Roche for now.
He effectively has double damage when he's empowered with the Titan's liver.
Titan's liver, yeah.
That is pretty crazy.
If only he had shard, it would be even more disgusting in this melee form. But something tells me, Nisha, does he have? He might be taking the shard off of Roche. Nisha's shard is quite good.
Spirit know this is happening, and they're planning their way to attack here. They do have Pawn vision, of course.
Not quite in range. Miposha gets off the ice path. Of course, they have some pretty good zoning capabilities here with Miposhka's ult, who's going to get initiated on to start with. Toronto Tokyo jumps in with the BKB. Can't really find anybody, though. Miposha gets up to full HP, collapses a huge arena onto several heroes, but the right clicks from Matu might be enough for Toronto Tokyo to take a tumble. He gets out just barely with any HP. Yatoro, in the meantime, he's going to take the damage from Matu instead. Nice. Zai gets in with that skewer collapse, taking additional damage here. Roche is still only at half HP, so they can't really steal it, as it looks like Yatoro will go down. No haunt available, even if he buys back here. So 2 for nothing as Collapse looks to be the third. Team Secret is doing a really good job of armlet toggling, but not good enough here, Cinder, as Miposhka stuck in harm's way. Zai able to get to safety here for the moment. Dissimulate. Looks like Nisha might go down if they can find a little bit of distance here. Oh, the Sunder from Matu, keeping his teammate alive. Toronto Tokyo gets dropped now. Double kill for Matu. The Sunder on the teammate. That is absolutely huge, and this is going to be a dieback now for Mira. A full team wipe, and Team Secret lost nobody.
And Spirit actually executed that really well, but Secret with the double buybacks on the supports coming back into the fight immediately really helped seal the deal there. Elder Titan and Rubik having a huge impact both on their second lives. The Yapzor with the stolen ball lightning gets a lot of it. And this opening for Secret actually doesn't work very well, so you commit a lot of spells from Void Spirit. He still gets healed up by Dia here, and here's that amazing arena, but the RP and response from Zai buys enough time that at least Yapzor stays alive for a while. And then he will buy back, of course, and reconnect, and with all the spells down, this is the kind of situation that Terrorblade just cleans house in, right? Like, everyone has used all their resources. He still has full HP and mana. They can't deal with Matu at all.
A very elongated fight, and it did require 2 buybacks from Secret, but still only on the supports here. As they're able to claim full set of racks here, in all likelihood. So Team Spirit on the back foot now. 16k net worth lead for Secret. Aegis online. Who got the shard here? Looks like it was Nisha as expected, so the Dissimulate's going to have that extra ring. And it will... it does more damage too, I believe. Oh, all right. Puppey gets picked up. That's technically a dieback. We'll see if Spirit can actually take advantage of this. Toronto Tokyo has to activate his BKB. Oh, Zai faking out again. That RP is Toronto Tokyo is who they really want. But Nisha will find a collateral in Miposhka. Mira, looks like the relocate will take him back to safety as well.
Yep, so we're going to steal the level 1 Spirit. It's probably the single worst spell he can get in this game, so except Bulwark. Not going to be too happy with that, but yeah, nice pick from Toronto Tokyo. Again, delaying here. They're not going to get pushed without Puppey alive, but still 3.5 minutes left in the Aegis on Matu. You would imagine that Secret just go down mid to top as soon as Puppey is up. Will be the shortest path to attacking these barracks. If you wanted to push in the top lane now, it would take you an extra 10 to 15 seconds, which could make a big difference.
Yep, and Team Spirit have to find a way back in this game. Of course, it is only game 1 of this best of 3, so not a do-or-die scenario right now. But Matu looks pretty unstoppable. Working on the Silver Edge right now. That will likely... Yep. I mean, it could replace the Boots or the Yasha, depending on if the Aegis is still in tow. As it looks like Secret is going to smoke up now. And Nisha... Oh.
Okay.
Goes for the Resonant Pulse in mid-ball lightning. Doesn't work that way, sadly. For Secret fans, that is. And Puppey getting harassed a bit. Has the Ghost Scepter to try to live through.
Yep. This could be a really big jump from Zai. Any horn toss on a key target could start off this fight, and he'll get
There's the horn toss on Collapse. He pops the BKB. RP not going to be expended here. Collapse has to pop his BKB instead. The RP is expended in the end on the single target. Here's Mira getting harassed by Nisha, creating all the space in the world. Collapse is dead, but does have buyback.
He used Arena, though, trying to stay alive, so they know if he buys back, that key ability is not there.
Yeah, but now the smoke up from Team Spirit. Trying to delay. Collapse will almost certainly have to use his buyback here, but like you said, no ult to work with. Maybe even just giving up this second set of barracks here.
It feels nigh impossible for them to kill Matu twice. Their lineup just doesn't have that good single target damage against a Terrorblade right now.
Yeah, meta is almost down though. We'll see if Team Secret want to bide their time here. Still a minute and a half on the Aegis, but that's not really going to align really well for another meta afterwards. And obviously couldn't even go for Megas to begin with because that tier 2 bot still stands. Nisha is actually going for a Dagon. So going for the blow-up build. Has the Eon disc, so can survive if he goes... I mean, I've been seeing Nisha do this a lot where everybody goes in with, like Zai jumps in, for example, picks one person off, brings them back into the fray, and then Nisha goes in the front line and just goes for the supports and makes sure that creating all this havoc that they can't even do anything about.
I think that's one of the biggest strengths of this hero in general, is just control, right? Like, we talk a lot about Void Spirit's ability to kill single targets with all the damage from Astral Step and the Resonant Pulse and the whole combo, but in a lot of situations, if you're in a game where you don't need to specifically kill heroes all the time, the zone control from this hero is incredible. You create so much chaos, the AoE silence, he has the Yules that he can now start potentially using offensively because he has Disc.
Yeah.
It just makes things so easy for the Magnus and Terrorblade to set up kills in the meantime while he just controls basically the entire enemy team.
So kind of a big deal if there ends up being a fight in the next 3 minutes, but Courier was just killed for Toronto Tokyo, and that had the point booster on it.
Yeah.
And he has enough to finish the Ags, but obviously cannot combine it. So, I mean, that is a game-breaking spell to not have, or upgrade, I should say, with the Electric Vortex AoE. And Secret should have some idea that that is the case here, as Matu pretty much ready to go here. Meta's up in 10 seconds. Looks like he's going to be working on, I don't know if they're going to get to this point, but consuming an Ags of his own to get that extra meta time and the Fear addition. But yeah, 2 racks advantage for Secret, and they are looking very, very good in this game number 1.
Yeah. Can choose to stall for the next Roche. The early respawn is in 2 minutes, but they've scanned out Yatoro. If Nisha finds him here...
Oh, Nisha. Oh, they're in the area. He gets off the Spectral Dagger, though. They're going to see him. The Yules into the Aether Remnant to follow. He gets off the Hot, though. Realitying all over the place. Gets silenced for the time being. Silenced the second time. Zai not able to connect on the Skewer. As Collapse even pops a BKB. Matu Gets off his meta in the meantime. They're trying to go for the Spectre. The break is there from that Silver Edge. And Nisha not going to be able to connect on a kill here, but they do make Spirit use a lot of resources to try to defend here. There's the horn toss. Miposhka is going to get dropped immediately. Toronto Tokyo pops the BKB. Just has no damage to work with now. And this turns into a 5v4 as Matu just hitting the buildings. Going
and
for the
Secret
Mega
still
Freeze.
have all their spells except Elder Titan ulti, so the RP is still in play. Zai as well as Nisha's discs are used now, but they're gonna get megas off this. Spirit just aren't ready to fight.
So mega defense attempt here from Team Spirit. Oh, the horn toss from Zai, and I would assume the RP to follow here pretty shortly. Looks like they'll have enough damage. Yataro gets off the mantle for now. Looks like he's going to live for a little bit longer. The Yules from Nisha in the meantime. But the Fade Bolt on the other side takes out Yataro. And it looks like this is going to be a Game 1 victory for Secret here, Cinderin, as they are looking extremely warmed up in this game number 1.
Yeah, this game has just not really been close except 1 or 2 fights where Spirit lined up everything perfectly. And YapzOr now finally gets the dream steal of the game. I don't know if this is the first time in the game he's had it. It kind of feels like it, but has that level 4 Ice Path with maxed out Arcane Supremacy, effectively turning this into, what's that, over a 3-second stun. Instant cast.
Tokyo showing off the axe, but the instant telekinesis. Oh, they're doing a lot of damage to Zai. Looks like he's going to be dropped down in the end, but Secret getting the better of this exchange as Matu pops the BKB, just going absolute ham on Collapse. There's the Ice Path again. GG's is called, Cinder, and Secret take Game 1 in convincing fashion.
Yeah, they did, especially what really set up for this huge lead for Secret, just the way the first 5 minutes went, right? Or the first 10 minutes. They're doing great in their lanes. Spirit, when they do get their levels on the heroes that need to make the plays, they just aren't able to. Secret just one step ahead every time. They have the right amount of heroes for the plays. I think especially both Puppy and YapzOr just doing some really, really good hero placements on the map, right?
Yeah.
From our perspective, it might look easy because every time Spirit go for a move, they're ready to counterplay. The challenge in this isn't necessarily the spell casting, it's being there. It's reading the map, knowing that you need to cover these exact angles at these exact times, and just a masterclass from Secret in how to play around your cores, really. So, very nice job.
Team Spirit's Cinderella run is at risk of being stopped here in the next game, Cinderin. But Team Secret take a 1-0 start to this best of 3 lower bracket. Let's see what the panel has to say about this performance from Secret.
Thank you very much, Sunsman and Cinderin. Let's start with the draft for this one, because I think one of the things that often happens when teams are facing Spirit is they go, okay, right, we're going to target Mars. Well, we're going to target Collapse's Mars, not let him have the hero that is really his signature. Or they're going, oh, maybe we should try and target Yatoro. But what we saw with the first round of bans from Team Secret was actually targeting the Miposhka Purge. And they take out his Winter Wyvern and they took out his signature hero, Bane. And it seems to be that that's really where Spirit's troubles began.
It definitely hurt them a bit, and it's kind of a continuation of how other teams have tried to beat Spirit. They said, oh, well, we'll ban all Collapse's best 2 heroes, then he dominates with Meg. And now they finally get to do it against Miposhka. Instead, they put him on Jakiro, and while Jakiro is an effective hero, he's not the laning dominator maybe that some of the other guys are. And also the other crucial thing, he maxed out Ice Path. It makes their mid-game really strong. But laning stage, he just doesn't do nearly as much damage with Dual Breath, which makes the game harder too. So it was a cool way to push them on the back foot, and it definitely made their lanes weaker than they should have been.
Do you think that Spirit were probably like, oh, hang on a second, we've got our favourite duo available. We can just get the IO, we can just get the Mars. This is going to be great, guys. This is going to be a shellacking from our side. Effie?
I think you definitely go into every Dota game that you play with a certain idea, right? And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. For me, the biggest thing that stood out was just giving away Magnus. I think after the last couple of days, you just either try to take it for yourselves or you ban it out, because it makes the way that you have to navigate fights very different. And it's all very subtle things that we can't really see per se, but you have to always be careful of your positioning, where you're standing. And that game was insane. It was fight after fight, and the spellcasting was ridiculous from both ends, but I don't particularly want to blame the draft alone, but I do think that they could have changed it up a little bit. And while Jakiro is a hero that's capable of fighting a lot, it's just not that good at the moment, I would say. He has his very niche moments, but I don't know. I just want to take it back to something that was said about the first 10 minutes. I think that Nisha's ability to just control the tempo of this entire game is actually what set up Secret.
They really set him up for a really good game. Nisha was having a good time in the mid lane, staying almost a full 1,000 gold ahead of Toronto Tokyo's Storm Spirit, and just playing from behind on the Storm. Yeah, they made him some stacks, but it was not enough. The movements, and to go back to the amplifying your carry, because if you look at you have Io. Io is not a hero that wants to play with Spectre that much compared to Magnus, who provides you that extra damage, provides you cleave when you're in a melee form, and also going for that Solar Crest, which is, kind of a big deal as well. So and you have ET on your own team.
Yeah, and just to add on to that point, like, outside of not having the most synergetic kind of carry for Io to play with, if a Void Spirit has that kind of game, you're in danger all the time as an Io. It is so hard to live through such a big Void Spirit.
Yotaro just seems to be having so much fun with the different carries that he's playing, though. At this stage, he's now played 13 heroes in 13 main event games. So the question is he going to be going for a pick we've seen before for this next game?
They might just pick another hero for him if it's available, because for the long duration of time, there has been this meta carry where you try to counter a certain lineup with just picking stuff. How do you counter this? Like, you don't know what he's gonna play. It's very hard to focus on him. It's very hard to go into this matchup and try to prepare anything, because you have no idea what he's gonna play. But there's also a bit of an extra spice coming into this matchup, because you have Toronto Tokyo in one of the pub games. He said to Matumba, man, see you at TI. It's gonna be 2-0 for us in 20 minutes. So far it didn't happen, so I want to see them bounce back.
Can I just shout out to production, you the real MVPs, for trying to get that Spectre to fit somewhere on the graphic. It was also predicted by the draft panel that Secret just had this late game unbeatable damage. Was there a point where just Spirit didn't have the availability to come back, or did you maintain hope, Purge?
The last 20 minutes of fights looked hard, because you want to kill Terrorblade, but they didn't quite have the best disables to do it. Like, if Mars gets on him and they spear combo him and they jump on him, it can kind of work, but the Spectre versus TB matchup isn't very great for Spectre at many stages unless you get really far ahead, and there's always the threat that he's going to sunder somebody, so it's there's just a lot more danger when you're trying to get those really important kills. And the other thing was that they just kept chasing around the Void Spirit consistently. Storm jumps on him, tries to catch him, he casts Dissimulate, then he jumps this way, then he jumps that way. You spend all this time chasing the guy, but it's you also need to kill TB in the meantime, because he's killing somebody else on your team.
So they picked the wrong target.
Yeah, I can see what Team Spirit decided to go for with this kind of a draft, having a global presence with Io, Storm, and Spectre. But the Team Spirit heroes, Team Secret heroes were really good at just standing the ground and taking a fight. You have this, super farm TB who can always use the Sunder, and Spectre, as you mentioned, it's really not a good matchup against the Spectre into TB, into ET as well. Also, one cool play there is Puppy. He was holding a Fang Grenade. Usually we see Shaker, who is the one, the primary one. This might be even a better one. The two supports, they die in one hit plus Fake Grenade.
Effie.
Yeah, no. So I wouldn't say that they picked the wrong target. It's just that there were too many targets, really, because, again, going back to that lead that they got in the first 10 minutes, typically you don't want your games to go that way against lineups that can snowball. And just to take it back a little bit, we were talking about the Magnus factor. Just the hero's existence and the way to play around him makes it so that the fights are always going to be a little bit awkward for you. Who you're going to go on, where you're going to take it, right? These things that we don't see may look a little bit objectively like, oh, why this guy? But that's just the strength of that hero. It's a very subtle kind of threat on the map all the time.
Well, while Team Spirit may have somewhat limited experience here at the International, their opponents, Team Secret, have been here countless times before, so let's find out some of their favourite memories.
My favorite memory from International that I myself attended, you could always say that it was TI7, the grand finals, but really I felt like it was the turning point for me in that particular tournament was our series against Virtus Pro in the lower bracket.
GG, well played. VP realised the truth. The truth is Team Liquid will eliminate them from the International and advance forward into the next round of the lower bracket.
After that, it was kind of meant to be to win the whole thing. For me, yeah, they're kind of intertwined, these two moments for me.
One of my favorite memories is obviously that I won the TI that I played in. So the first one, I mean, hands down, obviously, comparison to the losses of the other ones. The feel of TI1 was that it was definitely unique. Some things felt very professional, some things did not. The Chinese, they started a strategy, which was every time you died, they would make loud noises on their desk. They would hit it so hard that you would feel it from in the other booth because the desks were connected. And so they said, don't do that. We also, started kind of jumping around every time they died, or because they would see us. They would literally see us when we would kill them and jump around in our booth. So yeah, they kind of put garbage bags on the windows so you wouldn't be able to see. So no noise, didn't see the enemy, and that's that's how it went down.
Well, Poppy, don't worry. We're into recycling and keeping litter at bay here, so I expect if there's any mess in your booth, it's on you, son. All right then. Secret looked hot to trot in that match against Spirit. Clearly, they've been doing their homework. They've been seeing everything that Spirit have been throwing at their opponents. Is there anything now that Spirit can do on the flip side, maybe to try and exploit some chinks in Secret's armor? Effie?
I mean, well, all I can say about Secret right now is they are on their A game right now, just looking at that game one, and Spirit have to be very, very careful about giving away certain heroes, I would say. And I don't want to make everything about Magnus, but he really has been the hero of the last few days. And I think if they just address what they're going to do with perhaps the Magnus and the Tiny and the Mars, and which one they place more priority to, and to just make sure that they don't get sloppy in the early game, they definitely have a chance to strike back. And losing one game, it may have offset their momentum a little bit, but I do think they're capable. They just kind of need to take a deep breath and regroup here.
Well, the teams are taking to the stage now, casual as you like, for Team Secret, but they have the upper hand in this best-of-3 series, and they know it. They are so confident as they head into their player booth. But Team Spirit, when they came to this tournament, they were expected to maybe make it to, obviously make it to the main stage, but top 3, they surprised us all, and they would be more than delighted to surprise Team Secret today. Now, we didn't get a chance to talk about it much earlier, but Team Spirit and Team Secret boast these incredible, electrifying, flashy carry players. How do you expect this next Natu and Yutoro matchup to go, Lacoste?
I mean, Matu has been looking really stable. I believe he has 4 out of 4 wins on Tiny. One of the also comfort heroes that he played really well is Ursa, even though it's only 50% win rate so far at the TI. I like the aggression that they make with the hero. Usually when they are playing Radiant, you need to ban it out because of always that Roshan threat that he provides. And Matu, I mean, it's just, Matu kind of a style where he will find the farm. He will play it with the team. One of the reasons why he is so farmed is because they enable him. They enable him so much, and also their offlaner Zai doesn't take that much farm on the map. One of the reasons why Matu gets a bit more, and also Yapsor.
It's an interesting point that you make then about the farm, because that's one of the things that I learned first about Team Secret is they're a team that is much more flexible, it sounds, in their farm priority than other teams, Effie.
Yeah, it feels like sometimes they just kind of create gold out of nowhere when you're watching a Team Secret game. But I think that just goes back down to their strengths of being able to play defensively when they have to and being able to hold their farming areas, right? Team Secret play best in situations where the enemy kind of feel pressured because they're all farming so much and they run into them, so they make a mistake, right? And that just comes from their ability to read the map better than others, maybe due to experience, due to Puffy's leadership, but it just feels like when it comes to map movements, they have that down more than any other team.
And Paj, how would you compare Collapse to Zai? Because Zai has so much experience. He's clearly one of the most intimidatingly clever players I think I've come across so far. And then you have Collapse, who we can see on screen right now. So maybe they'll talk about him on the draft panel.
Team Spirit! versus Team Secret. Game 2.
Hello. We're here live with draft number 2. I have my 2 stellar panelists. You can turn around now so you can see the draft. Okay. Great, wonderful, thank you. What great direction. And we're here ready for game number 2 between Team Spirit and Team Secret. BSJ, before you gave us a great rundown of what the game would happen in the game. As you said, Team Secret just needs to hold down in the beginning, and then later on they will be able to come online.
Yeah,
you think that's what happened?
You saw the Team Spirit's team fight. Like, despite their effect that they were down by 7K, 8K gold, they were still able to get some crucial kills and some crazy ice paths from Maposhka that I think kept them in the game. But that early momentum, I think that first death in the lane by Collapse was very detrimental for them, because in the mid-game, his job is to set up all the plays, Storm Spirit to follow up, Spectre to follow up. They had a lot of follow-up, but he was forced to be defending his mid-tower rather than playing on Secret's part of the map, and you just saw that's how they accrued a massive lead.
There's a lot of Spirit team fighting, too. I think a big thing that we thought during the draft that they were going to do was kind of play the map more. But it really is in Team Spirit's style to just run at you and kill you in team fights, so perhaps lean more towards like team fighting heroes in this game is an option for them. Not that Mars is particularly bad at team fighting or anything, maybe a little bit more.
But if we're talking about the style of Team Spirit, we always think of them as group up around the mid-game timing with a strong carry, team fight as much as you can, and win the 5-on-5 engagements. And that is not what this draft looked like. So are you saying that we want to go back to basics, Jenkins?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair. You know, Wisp being banned out perhaps makes the Mars a little bit less of an option that's appealing. Perhaps
So you want-
Tidehunter could come out.
There you go.
Yeah, we got a Magnus on Team Secret, of course, looked great in the previous game, even against a hero that's considered to be somewhat of a hard counter in the Spectre, or definitely a hard counter. It's just that this new style of Magnus that people are playing, it's not necessarily countered by Spectre in the same way. Like, Magnus isn't really about team fighting or just team fighting anymore. It's also about the repositioning element and pickoffs.
We got it.
There it is. Okay.
So now, what do we do against a Tide, BSJ?
You want some way to easily counter the Kraken Shell. We've seen Silver Edges, we saw the PA. I'd say Disruptor's a worthwhile candidate here. Doom's probably not on the table here, because you would have like a shown mid lane and off lane first 2 picks. But just straightforward, ease of execution. We use this spell or this combination to kill the Tide. Teams like Team Secret, like, yes, they're going to value strategical advantage, but ease of execution is always something you want to consider at this main stage of TI.
Enchantress, okay. Well, this is... I think Secret is the most successful team with this hero. They absolutely snowball the lanes with Enchantress and then just have a monstrous mid-game. And I would assume that Spirit has some sort of preparation for this, that they're going to be second phase picking, or maybe they think that this Tide hero, the way that he team fights, the way that he groups up early is something that can deal with an Enchantress. And he can stand in front of a tower, for example, and not get pushed early.
I don't know how much in trouble I'll get for talking about what Seb said behind the scenes, but the off-lane meta is Helm of Iron Will right now. Pretty much every off-laner is either building Armlet or Helm of the Dominator, which allows them to get that early sustain, the 6 armor and 6 HP regen from such a cost-effective item. And what that does is it allows the 4th position, in this case the Lion, to roam on mid and give a lot of momentum to the mid laners, such as these spirits, the Storm Spirits, the Ember Spirits. And what Enchantress is so good at that most other 5s cannot do is she can harass the offlaner through the armor that the Helm of Iron Will gives you. The impetus is pure damage, and she also does a lot of harass in the early game, which delays your ability to get that Helm of Iron Will. If you saw last game, Zai, he went for the Tango Quelling Blade straight into the Helm of Iron Will, and that's a kind of build that a lot of offlaners want to go for, but it's quite difficult against a hero like Enchantress, who's so powerful early and then also breaks down that timing with the impetus.
It's a kill hero as well, right? So if you have anybody else show up with an Enchantress in the lane, like 4 position Earth Spirit, I don't know, like any 4 position, you're going to get a kill on the Tidehunter. And then you also, like, if there's a carry, you and the carry alone can kill the Tidehunter, just because there's so much damage. There's a creep to go in front and body block. I think, you can enchant, which of course can be purged off, but the purge is not that good in the early game because it requires so much HP, so that's not super effective.
So what the Enchanter has become quite popular for Secret, but we haven't really seen other teams pick up this strategy too much. What is it that makes it so special about this team?
You just have to be an Enchantress master. She's not a hero you see some other team pick, and you're like, oh, we can try that out. It's going to work. We were talking about how many permutations of the map that you can play purely based on the creep you get. You know, if you get a Wildkin, you're going to look to pressure towers. If you get the Hellbear Smasher or the Centaur, you might be ganking with it. If you get the Satyr, you might be harassing or burning their mana with the blue one. Yeah, it's like there's so many different things you can choose to do purely based on the RNG of the camps. And it's not a matter of which one's better than the other. It's like, okay, I've got this iteration. What am I going to do with it?
There was a point in the NADPC where I remember that Enchantress had quite a low win rate, and the pub win rate was like 42%, too, pro-level pub win rate. And then people started copying like the Puppy and some of these like European teams rotating towards the mid tower at 5 minutes, where a creep with that much armor is too strong for a lot of lineups to deal with. It's like the earliest tower pushing timing that you can really get out of that enchant. And then the win rate skyrocketed in DPC, and then it skyrocketed in pubs as well from that single rotation, because the earlier you do a rotation, the more impact it has because of the butterfly effect on the game. And so I think it's little things like that that make good Enchantress players good at the hero. Tanking the tower with your heal, things like that.
So while most people would consider this hero like a micro-intensive, very mechanical hero, you're talking about the tactical implications.
Super macro. It's actually a very easy hero to play. I mean, you're microing one thing. Yeah, and you can send it down a lane, and it's really about, like I said, like using the catapult timings, and then late game you're just kind of walking in and dying and then buying back if you're Puppy.
I think this is a really cool pick for Willow because it's a support that can solo kill Enchantress with even just like a +1 stun, and she might even be able to do it with just the Bramble, but the Bedlam doesn't get slowed down by Untouchable, even though it is technically attacking. But Team Secret also is likely to take a Spirit Hero for all the reasons I talked about with Enchantress, and you could potentially do Willow Puck, which the Terrorize Fear combo with the Coil on 4th pick for Spirit. So I think they're setting up some potential, like, 5-head, this is what you're going to pick, we know what you're going to pick, pigeonholing you into a specific hero, and being ready to deal with it.
And the comfort pick as well, because that's Miroslav's best hero, traditionally.
I like the Willow here too because it's a Yule's buyer and a 4-staff buyer versus the Magnus. So it gives you some sort of way of dealing with the Horn Toss, which I think a lot of people, that's the thing that they're questioning. Like, okay, how do we deal with this hero? It's not really, let's pick Purges and dispel the RP. Nobody cares about the RP anymore. It barely matters. It's all about that Horn Toss. So a hero that can pick up both of those items and a hero that will also get in there where you can Yule somebody, because that's a pretty short range. And there are other heroes that might pick up a Yule's, but like Willow goes in the fight because she can press W and she's just immune to everything.
We might also see a Morphling, though, with the Willow.
Oh, that's true. Wouldn't you be able to also set up the Bramble Maze a defensive way so that Magnus can't just jump and skewer?
Even if he skewers through it, like he gets stuck in one of the brambles, and it gives you some sort of follow-up, some way of killing him. Yeah, for sure.
You get the Juggernaut now for Team Secret. What's the reason behind this pick?
It's just so good against Willow specifically. It's a Jug Mag combo. Yeah, it's just a free Jug game as of now, and it's similar to what we saw last game with Matu's Terrorblade, is they had to pick heroes that killed it after the draft. So it's a hero that its innate survivability mechanic has not been dealt with, which makes it so there's much more limitation. Like, I wouldn't want to pick Puck now if I'm Team Spirit. I wouldn't want to do that combination because Jug's one of the few heroes that can get coiled and not really care for the majority of the game.
Oh man, okay.
That's a combo.
Yeah, imagine a Grimstroke. Okay, like if you name the 2 most difficult lanes to lane against as a Tidehunter or even generic offlaner, Juggernauts in both of them, and then it's probably Grim Jug and probably Enchantress Jug as well. The only other here is like maybe CM
or
Jug. Lich Jug, something like that. But I think both of these heroes are worse than Lich, though. Like, you basically have the 2 strongest Jug lane pairings. If there's ever a rotation to this safe lane, it's like a guaranteed kill. And I don't even think it's necessary to have a rotation to the safe lane, because Ench Jug will dumpster a Tide. So I'm curious to see how Team Spirit deals with this.
There's the Morphling. Good job,
SJ. Now that the combination's off the table, this is the first duplicate hero, by the way, for Yatoro throughout the entire main event. Something to keep in mind. He did cap out at 13. The
dire straits now.
Maybe the millions of dollars potential is better than the memes of picking a different hero every single game, but
you mean the pride of winning TI, because they don't think about the money. Players have never thought about it.
Sorry, the pride of winning TI.
Thank you.
And I think what I want to see from Team Secret here is that Magnus has really no way to pressure Morphling in lane as he gets like level 3 or 4. So I would expect them to start the Grimstroke top and then When we talked about the Helm of Iron will timing, where he's not going to pressure the Morphling, but he's going to do his own thing. He's going to survive on his own. They'll rotate to the Jug lane in order to get him the momentum with that Inkswell. So that's a specific rotation that I'm looking out for Team Secret.
I wanted to make a point, if we go back earlier about Grimstroke Jug, that most people stop playing Grimstroke because of the Inkswell change, I guess, right? Where now it takes longer to get the stun off.
Yeah.
But this might be the one combination where it's actually beneficial, because getting the movement speed buff on Jug for longer, especially against heroes like Tide.
Yeah, you get longer spin on them, and then
Exactly.
it's like the spin you're not hitting anyway, so they don't need to be stunned. You're just click moving. You're just moving on them. That's literally it. Yeah, it's really strong. I'm worried though for Spirit that they do get a Morphling illusion from this Grimstroke that presumably is going to be a 4 position here. So that will be a very early Morph illusion. But then on the flip side, the Willow Morph combination doesn't exactly have great counters in general, just because it's one of those like extremely strong combos. A lot of teams were first facing it for a while for that reason, because it requires like an entire draft to counter. So just getting a Morphling illusion is not like, the game is over by any means.
They also have the budget disruptor from Grimstroke, the Phantom from his second ability cannot be dispelled by Tidehunter Kraken Shell. So that's true. You can afford to use that in fights. It'll buy you an extra couple seconds that he's going to have to use to hit that bug off. And that might be just enough for them to ignore the Tide long enough to bring down some crucial targets like the Morphling.
I do think with this draft for Team Spirit, if this goes to like 30 plus minutes, they could completely crush Team Secret. At least with these current heroes that we're seeing here. There is the Mag and Jug, where you're going to have the Empower, so there will be like a presumable item advantage. But if these two teams are on an even playing field, and it's 30 minutes, and they have the Willow Morph, there is nothing currently to deal with that. And they're going to do enough damage to completely obliterate a Jug. Like, what is Jug going to Omni-Slash a Morphling? He's got 6 different ways of getting out of it. He just becomes the Willow and presses W, and then he's fine.
I expect the Jug to probably go Diffusal this game. It's so good against both of the supports. Even though Willow, you won't be able to hit her, you can do full damage to her through the spin. One of the few carries that can do that. But then also just the mana burn against Morphling now, the fact that Morph takes mana.
Yep.
As attribute shift.
Tide as well, honestly. You spin on the Tide, you drain his mana, and it's like you don't even need to kill him. He just has no mana.
I wouldn't be surprised by like Yasha or Falcon Blade into the Diffusal.
Yep, sure.
Just to ramp up the pace, like you said, because once we get to that stage of the game, Team Spirit's representing the same threat that they had last game with this immense amount of team fight, like 1 or 2 item timings. But then you saw Secret, they're all about that laning stage dominance, turning it into a mid-game dominance.
There's the final Spirit here that we were talking about. Area damage against Dark Willow, pretty decent mobility, good magical burst against the Morphling. Probably the best Spirit hero you could run here against a potential Puck counter.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can get the Yules, which of course you can set up for the Puck.
You punish Phase Shift with your Remnant.
Yeah, 100%. It also pairs really nicely with the Grimstroke, because you can put the bubble onto Nisha, it runs in, gets that huge stun duration. And then on top of that, I think that Team Secret needed an incredibly active hero like Storm Spirit. Is active, but at like a later point than Void Spirit. And between all of these heroes that they have here on Team Secret, once again, there were a lot of plus ones. There's a lot of heroes that want to do stuff, but they don't want to be the one that's going in first. And so Void Spirit is probably the best hero at doing that, at least in terms of the earliest.
Your mid tower is going to get dove on Team Spirit so early. The Void Spirit was like a little bit of that oomph that they needed from the mid lane to enable the Inkswell as well as the Enchantress rotating. So whatever hero this is, Kunkka, I like that. You probably needed more of a frontliner, more of a hero that doesn't mind having heroes run at him. He free farms pretty much against Void Spirit. The only heroes Kunkka struggles in lane against are ones that prevent him from continuously walking up and Tidebringing the creeps. So I think that's really good for them here, but it's a matter of... It's those first 2 rotations I'm looking out for from the Secret supports. The first rotation to Jug's lane in order to kill Collapse with the Inkswell, and then the second one diving Tokyo's mid tower. So if either of these cores on Team Spirit suffer early, I don't think the Morphling's going to have time to get to his Ag Scepter timing.
And not only does Team Spirit have the lore going on, where they have Tidehunter Kunkka, and then they have the water in the Morphling.
Wow. Yes.
Also,
that's very good.
Tidehunter and Kunkka, it's very disruptive in team fights. I don't know if you guys have fought against Double Ravage and Torrent Storm in a game, but it feels like you're just always stunned. You can't walk into fights, and you can't even get a BKB or have Jug Spin or anything like that, because it just covers too much. If Spirit goes late game, it's an easy game.
Well, we're going to see what Secret's coach thinks, as Sir Action Slacks is there in the sidelines about to ask Heen some questions.
Hey there, Heen. Thank you so much for taking time to speak to us. Grimstroke, not the most popular hero this tournament. You seem pretty confident picking it. You think it still works in this lineup?
Well, we haven't played it so far in this tournament, so we're about to find out for ourselves. It's just that at this point in the tournament, we've kind of developed a feeling for heroes without even playing them. It's just we're confident, though.
How's the team's energy right now in the booth after game one? Are they ready to continue this?
We're super happy with the way we played game one, so just positive vibes all around.
All right. Well, we'll see if those positive vibes continue. Thank you for your time, and we'll throw it straight into the game with Sunsfan and Synderen.
Thank you, sir. Action select Sunsfan with Cinder. We got game number 2 of this best of 3 of the lower bracket finals for TI10 Synderen. This is going to be a good, juicy game. I can feel it.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you?
Yes, I feel it.
Are you
feel
sure?
It very much. Yes, I do. I feel that these two teams are going to be playing very, very differently. And interestingly enough, it's not really a flip of the last game exactly, but the team that feels more on a timer is now on the other side, right? In the last game we were debating, okay, Team Spirit, you're going to look for these skirmishy fights, you're going to try to play fast, and Secret will eventually outmatch you and have stronger team fight in late game. This time around it might be the other way around, and Secret will need to play a little bit faster probably. The good news for Secret is when it comes to winning early games, there is a guy on a hero in the pink slot right now that has a very high impact in general when it comes to that. Puppy on the Enchantress can be absolutely disgustingly strong early on in the right conditions. And I see this as the kind of game where Enchantress can actually shine. You're not playing against anyone who deals with your Enchanted creep. You have really good lane partners to gank for in the Magnus, the Void Spirit, and the Jugger. So all eyes on Puppy, I think, in this game
popped.
to get Secret ahead.
We got the Earth Spike to come out onto Zai with the Bramble to follow. He is forced to skewer. But we'll live through the day, Cinderman.
30 seconds to battle.
He'll be able to walk back and should be able to be fine to help contest these bounties, I would assume. Not sure if Team Spirit's going to stick around for a while, but do get some good damage to start this game out. So looking at the lineups, obviously Morphling, Dark Willow, that is a combo that I wouldn't say it's quite at the same level as Earthshaker, but it's close. It's really, really good.
Collapse is going to run into trouble.
Yep, that is trouble. And his name is Matu. See the Grimstroke coming out with the slow into the Blade Fury. Matu gets first blood for Team Secret.
Spirit were just not expecting Secret to have rotated over there and planted so many heroes, and he just walked straight into it. Usually as Tide, you feel pretty confident level 1, but this lane matchup is kind of scary for you. The Jugger as well as Ench, and of course you had the Grimstroke as part of that play as well. Yapsor resisting the temptation of skilling Inkswell for the first blood, didn't need it, so he goes to lane with Stroke of Fate, which is much better bottom together with Magnus. You just want to push in that wave and try to open up for pulls. Also a better trading spell for him against the line of Miposhka. They're going to be hitting each other a bit here in the bot lane.
And mid lane, they already discussed, but it is the Kunkka versus Void Spirit matchup. Toronto Tokyo versus Nisha. Kunkka, typically very good against melee heroes. Do you agree with the panel on this matchup overall?
He's favored in this lane. I think it was PSGLGD that ran it twice as well against, I don't think it was it Void Spirit in one of the games? I don't remember, but they ran it as well. And had great success with nothing to say on that mid Kunkka against one of the melee spirits. So, yeah, expecting Toronto Tokyo to pull ahead here. Obviously has the added luxury of being able to very quickly farm small camps on the side. So it can just push out, take this, and come back to lane and even outscale the Void Spirit in terms of the farming capability on the side camp as well. Void Spirit isn't as good at it early on. He will eventually be equally quick when he has levels. But in the beginning, Nisha will be playing at that disadvantage.
Puppy continuing to be that absolute nuisance that you were talking about earlier, has that troll creep which finally runs out, but in addition to the Blightstone that he started the game with, just very annoying to deal with.
Ghost here, I think, or is he going to go all the way for the
Mud Golems?
Do the pull.
Okay.
Gets a 3 creep pull, this is the small camp you want to see if you're looking to deny a wave. The Ghost camp is very, very good at killing the creep wave, and he's going to protect it as well with his own hero, as well as one little skelly boy running after Mira here. And now he's going to go and take a golem.
Uh-oh. Golem time. There's first stun coming out, as Mira's just going to continue to get harassed here, but this is kind of what he has to do. Bramble, all right, we'll connect onto Puppy.
Oh, he took
two of them. 2 procs on it. All right, Puppy outplayed by Mira here, and the The tip ensues, Cinderin.
That was just flat out a rare mistake there from Puppy. Usually very mechanically skilled support player, but Mouse was not working as intended there as he walked into 2 brambles. I think the first one might have been undodgeable, but the second one definitely wasn't.
Mouse was not working, and potentially his monitor if it continues to go down that road, Cinder. We've seen that before.
Well, when I did play the show match yesterday, my monitor did go black, so maybe that's what happened. Would explain the pathing there. But he's definitely back. He TP'd correctly, so he does see everything, I would imagine.
Puppy and Cinderin are good friends, guys. Very good friends.
Okay. I believe you.
One thing I do want to mention, Cinderin, the Grimstroke here.
Yep.
You talked about how the Phantom's Embrace is really good against Tide because he can't crack and shell it off. What about like late game potential with like Dark Portrait against a Morphling? That does sound very good.
That is very good indeed, yeah. I think it's something YapzOr will be considering. Obviously, about Dark Portrait, it is magic immune. You can't really hit it with stuff from Team Spirit, and it's very fast. So only in their lineup, only really Morphling himself can kill off that Portrait. So would imagine YapzOr has definitely got that in his mind. But to me, the primary reason they're picking it is they want a support that pairs up well with Jug. Oh, we're seeing Jug kill Mira here. No way out of that one.
Blade Fury finishes him off, as Collapse can take some residual damage as well.
So, yeah, Grim together with Jug for the Inkswell, and of course the silence against Tide.
Chase Shockwave back into the right click of Zai. So Secret off to a good start in terms of just the kills here. We can see mid is advantage for Team Spirit, 31-3 to the 23-5 of Void Spirit.
Keep in mind that a lot of those CS are the small camp, so basically neck and neck in gold right now. 50 ahead here for Toronto Tokyo. Surprisingly enough, there's more denies on the Void Spirit than on the Kunkka, who will often be able to bully out the other melee hero and then find those denies, but hasn't really been able to dominate Nisha. Nisha, again, similar to Game 1, just doing exceptionally well in lane.
Doing what he needs to do for sure.
And now that he's level 5, now he can start doing the same thing as Kunkka. So he's going to be farming up the small camp next to the lane and close in on his level 6.
So from Secret side, Juggernaut, Cinderin, not a hero. It's not like the standard carry these days. Like Morphling feels like more of a go-to pick for a lot of teams is Mira. Versus Puppy again. See if he gets brambled twice again, not this time around. But going late game, Secret, like, can they survive the late game? Jug does scale better than he used to, but still not the traditional, like, super mega hard carry that we're used to seeing.
And I would say, theoretically speaking, yes, I do think their lineup can handle late game. You do have, obviously, hang on, Collapse. Okay, Matsu will yield. Back off. Empowered Void Spirit and Jug can definitely fight late game. It does feel like the execution ultimately should be easier for Team Spirit with the Morph Willow, with double Ravage when Tide gets Refresher. There's just a lot of stuff that Secret will need to play around effectively, but there's no time in this game that I would just flat out write them off. You know, I would favor the other team at some point, but the Dire lineup can definitely win this game even come super late game. That's obviously RP is always going to be an X factor. BKB piercing stun, empowered cores. The Portrait might become the X factor, as you pointed out, as well. So I think Secret aren't too concerned.
Okay. As we see Blade Fury from Matu in the top lane, you can see the Centaur making his way over to try to get a potential stop here, but Shadow Realm going to keep Mira alive at the very least. Collapse very low on HP here, and Matu does have his ult, but no mana to work with. His Puppy going to get ganked here from Toronto Tokyo. X with the boat coming in, and Collapse just wants to get some XP here. Cinder, okay, the stomp comes out. Puppy still survives, but finally that second right click.
Yeah, if that stomp would have hit, he might have lived. Both of the Team Spirit heroes just narrowly dodging it there. So it's a good gank from Toronto Tokyo to do find a kill. It's going to cost him a little bit of health on the mid tower, and actually his bounty rune here will be stolen by Nisha. But Collapse was in trouble. He needed help.
Does he run? Oh, Nisha, did he get vision there?
I don't think he saw him.
Oh man, that was super close.
He must have. The TP out from Collapse there.
Was looking for the higher priority kill potentially.
Yeah.
There's now Mira. Very wary of this area now, but is back to basically full HP. And Toronto Tokyo on this Kunkka Cinderin. What's the build this game? We've seen Halberd. We don't really see Radiance anymore, but I mean, it's not the most unusual thing for a mid Kunkka.
Might go Phase Armlet.
Okay.
Nisha's opening up on him a bit, just harass.
Level advantage right now going the way of Toronto Tokyo, by the way, as Nisha just trying to be annoying here. But yeah, you like just armlet into what then?
Armlet Halberd doesn't sound too bad. Halberd against Jug can be a little bit dicey because, you need to find the right timing to get it off between Omnislash and Spin, but it also just gives you the inherent tankiness.
Yapzor looks very dead here. Nice setup overall from Team Spirit, and Miposhka very kindly gives the kill to Yataro.
What a bro.
You'd never do that for me.
I have very good reason to not do that for you.
So you say. Still very
I
even game
have
to start
statistical evidence that it's better spent on me.
Stats lie. I'm pretty sure that's a segment I've heard of. Collapse now level 6, so Ravage is good to go. It looks like bottle's going to be refilled here in the mid lane for Nisha. So what's the go time for each team? Is there a certain item? Is there a certain level? It's like mid,
Tokyo.
Potential gank on Toronto Tokyo, taking heavy damage. Still has his boat to work with. And here it comes. The rum buff is there, but Astral Step is going to do a lot of damage. In the meantime, the reinforcements have arrived. Look at the Tiebringer just destroying Yapzor. And there's the Curse Crown into the right click. Mira actually gets credit for that one. It's a 2-0 as Toronto Tokyo being pursued by Zai. Not able to find an RP though. And now Puppey is going to take heavy harassment. In addition to this, Tiebringer with the X into the Torrent. That's going to be 3 kills potentially going the way of Team Spirit, but there's the RP to try to counteract this. Zai gets it off onto Mira, but the Shadow Realm keeps him alive for now. The Hadouken is coming from the Seder Tormentor Cinder, and the Skewer's going to miss, but the Shockwave into the Hadouken. Puppey gets credit for that one.
What a sick combo, Shockwave into Shockwave.
That's right.
They didn't have a new name for that one.
That's why I call it Hadouken.
Is that the only spell that...
That's a terrible time for trivia because we have an X into the Torrent again. Toronto Tokyo won't be able to find the kill here, but is wreaking havoc right now on Team Secret. Such a difficult hero to kill in general, especially once he gets that boat off with all that damage mitigation.
Spirit had a very good read there of how much they could get away with on Toronto Tokyo. Very nicely done, and they do come out victorious in that fight slightly. And with RP down for another minute, Secret will probably just chill, farm, and more than likely look to stack up some more Ancients. They haven't really stacked yet, and I think now is the time that you want to start building up for Jugger to really start making some progress. Puppey will stack both camps here. Leave the bounty. No, he will take it. Change his mind. And this shouldn't be a surprising thing for Spirit either. In the next couple of minutes, they will want to try to invade that triangle, get vision out, and try to fight. Their team fight obviously extremely strong on the back of Kunkka, Willow, as well as Tide. When they all have their 6s, Willow is a little bit away. I would imagine they give him the Tome and give Lion a lane for 6, since he is very close. And the Tome should be flying out to Willow, it is indeed. So, Miposhka should be looking to find that Finger of Death somewhere sometime soon.
Maybe Yataro queuing up the S and Y into E-Blade. We'll see if he
look at Secret's wording, by the way. Very, very centric around that bottom half. Obviously, again, multi-purpose wording. They want to get info about the enemy team on their side so they can make ganks, but this also effectively works as a very nice protective layer for the triangle, since invasive moves from Spirit will be impossible without a smoke, and if they smoke, they're likely to do it down here, so Secret will see it coming and won't have to be scared of the smoke all the time when heroes are missing. They will simply know when it gets popped. Bottom lane.
Yeah, Matu trying to push here. We see some TPs here. There's an Earth Spike into the waveform with Toronto Tokyo making his presence known, but the healing ward does go off for Matu, keeping him alive. Looks like he'll be just fine as a result. Zai does get X, though, after the skewer comes through. Gets the RP off, though. That's against a counter Magnus, it looks like, as Yataro jumps in with that waveform, but the double damage on Nisha. He's going to get waveform into death. Big death there for Secret. Nicely done from Team Spirit, knowing their limits.
Yeah. Great Hex from Miposhka there. As soon as he comes out of that Dissimulate, gets instant Hex, doesn't get a chance to use the second Astral Step. And they do find a kill, defend their tower effectively with this, at least for now. They will expend a lot of spell threat, however. Only Ravage is really online. I think if Spirit want to hold this tower, they need to bring down Tide now, or they're likely to concede it. Secret are kind of sticking around. They seem a little bit indecisive, but... oh, they had a feeling there was a ward. They're going to find that one. X-Mark.
Yeah. Matu will be fine here. We did see Morphling turn into Magnus Cinder. That is kind of hilarious. You waveform in, you skewer them back.
Yeah.
I mean, this early on, that's basically like having a Blink Dagger. That has pretty high impact.
You get him power, too.
Yeah, true.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah, Nisha.
On Morph.
See the smoke coming in from Team Spirit. Looks like Nisha is going to be their target of choice. A very slippery hero to find, though, but that's what X is for. But Nisha already on his way to his jungle.
Yeah, going for a different build this game.
This will be a little bit harder. They can get the Torrent to start things off into the Earth Spike and the Finger. Nicely done from Team Spirit. Blade Fury did not go off in time for Matu.
Yeah, despite all of those wards Secret had earlier, 2 of them either got expired or dewarded, and they just did not have the read that this play was coming in from Team Spirit. Very nice with the Torrent opener and the burst. And they're going to just rotate straight back down to bottom to try and still defend this tower when the Jugger isn't here pushing. First of all, they knew that he was in the triangle because he wasn't pushing bot, and now that he's dead, can very easily hold this with the primary pushing hero of Secret on the sidelines. Team Spirit will defend that bottom tower, no problem.
And in terms of item progression, Toronto Tokyo pretty close to BKB, just the recipe away right now. Going for a very early one, so double bracer BKB, extremely tanky on him.
Yeah.
Not very often you see BKB this early. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know how good it is in this game.
It's really against the Void Spear more than anything.
Primarily Void Spear, a little bit of the Grimstroke silence, you know, but it's not... I don't think this is an obvious key BKB game. But I think maybe what Team Spirit are planning for is just to feel really strong approaching that mid game so they can just group up and go fight and have a clear front line in both him and the Tide. You could argue that Collapse doesn't want to frontline in this game because of the Grimstroke silence. It just puts him at risk of not getting Ravage off. So maybe Kunkka can just do the job, since he can just remove that silence.
Is it also recognizing that Team Secret's power spike is more mid-game centric and they just want to be prepared for that potentially?
Yeah, it could be. I feel like you could also prepare for that with the Armlet Halberd, to be honest. I think that would also make you really strong at that point in the game. But this way you guarantee you get your spells off, and I think he might be rating that more highly. You know, their lineup has insane spell bursts. It's just about getting them off.
Yeah, Matu empowered now, level 11. And going for this bottom tower. There's going to be some pressure mid from Team Spirit in the meantime, though. We'll see if this ends up being given up. Top tower has already been killed, so looking for the potential overall trade. S and Y picked up by Matu, so both respective position ones will be getting S and Y, it looks like, Cinderin, this game. Yep, going for that extra status resist.
There's a lot of stuff on both teams that you can get value out of status resist against. Puppy
is dead. Jinx.
Jinx.
You can't say, you're not allowed to speak until I give you a soda. I think that's the rule.
Is that how it goes?
That's how it is in America. That explains the obesity, right? Now, a lot of jinxes going on. Zai in the trees. Obviously, not with a Blink Dagger yet, about 500 away, but Blink Dagger is on the way for Collapse. So Collapse off to a much better start than last game. That is for sure. He has the hood. He is a super tanky. Oh, Soulbind with the Phantom's Embrace. It's not going to connect on anybody in terms of a secondary target, but Miposhka is taken out by Secret.
Good connection there from Yapzor on the Stroke of Fate, but it can't really follow up. And there would also have been a BKB for Toronto Tokyo anyway, but maybe they were hoping to force that. So Secret hold their tower, but it is getting very low, and you imagine Team Spirit will just make another attempt there very, very soon with their Tide and get that cleaned up. So it's looking great for Spirit compared to last game, right? Like, not only are they ahead on gold in the game, but also the overall flow of the lineups is going to help them get in a very good position in the mid game. I think Secret were hoping to get more value out of Puppies and Enchantress in this game, and Mira just didn't let it happen on that Dark Willow. Contested him a lot, got the kill like we talked about earlier, and slowed him down and made sure Collapse still, despite playing against a very hard lane in my opinion for Tide, he did completely fine. And they're just rolling off the back of that. Secret probably will have to be cautious with fighting for a while.
Yeah, for sure. And it's unfortunate because when you have a Juggernaut, you kind of want... I mean, it is, like you said, an empowered Juggernaut, so you will be farming at a much higher rate. Doesn't have to go for, like... I mean, we've seen Battle Fury way in the past, but more Maelstrom or Echo Saber type builds. Just straight for the tanky S and Y, because you can take advantage of the cleave from Zai here. But we'll see what Secret wants to do here to try to get back in the game. It's not exactly an insurmountable lead by any means, But anytime you have a Morphling and you're off to a good start, that usually bodes pretty well for the Morphling team. And I would assume he's going to go E-Blade first before the Ag, so that's when Shadow Realm really becomes completely filthy. And I believe it works with the talent, if I'm not mistaken, right? The waveform striking through targets.
Yes. Level 20 talent.
Oh, God, yeah. So looking forward to that one. Morphling is one of the gotta be one of the hardest heroes to balance in the game.
Yep.
Along with Rubik. Well, Rubik is more bug fixes than anything, actually.
And here goes the mid tower. So Toronto Tokyo will get it. Secret will annoy him a little bit with the glyph. They might as well. Actually, they're gonna back off. They were worried that Secret were turning this into a fight. So showing a lot of respect here. That was a one hit away, and now it's gonna get denied instead by Yapzor.
Damn, respecting the Blink RP potential.
Might be it. I feel like Kunkka was pretty safe there, but there is the risk, I guess, of getting Blink Skewer RP'd and then Omni-Slashed under the tower, so perhaps they're...
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that potential, but obviously Omni-Slash will cleave because of the Empower on top of that. Then you have the Soulbind with the double Phantom's Embrace. They do have good Wombo combo potential. But Team Spirit's still sporting this 3K network lead. And we can see Toronto Tokyo working towards an AC, so going for even more tank and obviously some damage to go along with that. As Spirit Vessel almost done on Mira. All right, Toronto Tokyo. Well, not able to save his teammate. Mira gets taken out by Nisha.
Really wants a high five, does Nisha.
Not even his teammates high-fiving. He's like, well, Puppy's probably like, you know what, just let that go on cooldown. I want to mess with
Not
this
only
anymore.
playing solo mid, he's just solo in the game. There's no one else in it.
I wonder if bots will high-five you
barely
back.
dodging everything here, Mipushka. Tranquil Boots, Windlace helping out massively there to just run away. If either of those spells hit, he is dead immediately. Well, yeah, Secret do get a pick on Mira. It's something. Still, it feels like Spirit are pretty comfortable with just farming up their Morphling in particular. I think maybe when he hits the E-Blade is when they will be looking to play a little bit more aggressively and fight.
Yeah, I feel like the pressure is on Secret to start something. I think, like you said, Team Spirit more than happy with Farm Zai. Inkswell with the skewer.
I think he overshot his blink. So obviously the range penalty when you click the blink too far away, and then you can't really do the shockwave skewer combo off of that. So Mira will get away.
A very slow-paced game for Secret, as Team Spirit are sitting pretty right now. Now, I thought that with the Blink Dagger on Zai that they would try to get a little bit more aggressive, but hasn't come to be. Is there something that, like on Matu, that they're waiting for? Because looks like Scotty is the big ticket item for him, only a point booster away essentially now.
Oh, hang on.
We have a smoke.
Rush.
Team Spirit. Oh, the Aether Remnant does spot them. We'll see if they notice, if Secret did notice that.
It looks like Nisha did.
Yep. Oh, he's going to get ravaged, though, into the waveform and blown up. Noticed it or not, Cinderin. He's dead.
Yep. I still don't know after that whether he noticed it or not and just got surprised by how quickly they found and killed him. But it did feel like a defensive remnant you placed to avoid that exact play, and then you still got hit by it when you got the vision. But well, it is ravaged down. Secret will try to get a tier 2 tower bottom out of this.
Yeah, Toronto Tokyo just doing the old X marks the spot shenanigans. And try to push this out of the
a tower trade. Great kill for them, though. Already, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Nisha with this game has now quadrupled his amount of deaths on Void Spirit in the main event.
Okay.
By getting 3 in this game.
Wow. Very impressive, as Roche is being taken out by Spirit. E-Blade was already completed for that kill on Yataro, so on his way to the Ags next. So this is going to be a freebie for Team Spirit. Aegis likely to go to Yataro.
For style points, he's going to waveform through it and grab it on the way out of the pit.
That's when you know he's really feeling himself here.
Yeah, it's that efficiency.
Oh, we have a skewer back onto Collapse, into the Blade Fury, but Matu just doesn't do that much damage right now. Needs the Shard, which he is going for next. E-Blade applied to him for now. Nisha able to blow up Mipushka on the front line here. this turns into a 5v4 situation with Secret having the advantage, but they don't have the Roche advantage. Oh, Zai, RP only onto one, but can't really find a maneuver to try to skewer him back, but it doesn't matter. Nisha and Matu blow up Toronto, Tokyo.
And they're not done yet. Mira.
Looks like he... Oh, the skewer does cancel the TP in Shadow Realm form. And that is going to turn to a third kill for Secret, despite giving up Roche. Win that fight handily. So that basically, based on just the net worth alone, evens up the game, which is what Secret obviously needed with this more mid-game centric lineup.
Yeah. Gabe's neural network still likes Spirit quite a bit better from the overall team fight and scalability of their lineup, but that is step number one for Secret to put this into a better position for themselves. And yeah, you don't count out melee carry with Empower. It can always happen. Team Spirit need to be on their toes the whole game to avoid getting RP'd into an Omnislash. Even a hero like Morphling that's generally considered super difficult to kill can just die in a burst. Has to be careful. Obviously that time it was the Kunkka they went for. There was no... First of all, Morph had the Aegis, and secondly he wasn't in position to really get caught. Another big item coming up soon for Spirit, by the way, the Dagger. Miposhka 300 away will definitely be very helpful for them. Because he has been getting caught a couple of times. Oh, instant Hex bottom.
Oh,
they predicted
boy,
this from
Nisha's
Nisha.
in a lot of trouble. Boat's going to be connected with the Finger of Death, but Nisha jumps forward to try to get Retribution. He does just that. Miposhka finds his way to the grave. Nisha X marks back into the fray, though. And it's eventually brought down, but at least he takes somebody with him.
Yeah, he had a choice to make there. I actually think he could have escaped. But he doesn't know that for sure that reinforcements aren't arriving, so he's going for the kill instead and hoping he can get out, but not possible there. So, if you're Team Spirit, you're happy with this. Even though your Lion died, he still made progress on the Blink Dagger from just the assist gold and obviously having the good old Philosopher's Stone.
AC completed now on Toronto, Tokyo. So, gonna give a lot more armor, some attack speed. It'll help the push as well if they really want to try to take some buildings here.
This is a good time for a question for you.
Okay.
You're never going to guess what I'm going to ask you about. My question for you is, what is my question going to be?
What is the active of Fey Grenade called?
Yes! No, what's the yeah, actually, yes. You're right, that was what I was going to ask, but...
You're so predictable,
well, wait.
actually.
Hey, you didn't guess I was going to ask you about the question itself, though. That caught you off guard.
Team Spirit.
Well, what's the answer, then?
I have no idea.
Shadowbrand.
Shadowbrand? Wow, that sounds painful.
I feel like nobody in the world knows all this by heart.
I'm sure there's somebody.
Actually, probably all of chat knows. It's just us.
They've looked it up ahead of time.
They knew it.
To be prepared for this cast.
All right, Team Spirit, you have 1 minute 20 left on your Aegis. You're going to put it to use here in mid.
Tier 2 tower is going to be forted here. Aghanim Scepter now online for Nisha, so the silence comes out with Resonant Pulse. And Yataro, yeah, only a minute to go. I don't think they're going to risk this, especially considering he's so close to finishing the Ags for himself.
Yeah, it's a huge upgrade for him.
And they're just going to bide their time. Not that big of a lead for Team Spirit, but they still are the favorites in this match. And Collapse. He has a Vlad's now going towards an Aghanim Scepter for himself, so they're going to get the AoE Gush. Was Shard actually not picked up by Matu? I guess not. He's prioritizing going for the Shadow Blade right now. I figured that the Shard would be pretty nice for him this game. Apply Scotty to everybody he's hitting, get the extra attacks and more movement speed.
I think the thing about this is he just wants to hit as fast as possible with Empower, and you kind of stifle yourself when you go into Blade Fury. So
That's true.
He might just want to just deck out on damage. He has a lot of health, so the Blade Fury defensive capability is less important. I say that now, just wait until Morph gets to lay into him with the axe, right? But I think from Team Secret's perspective, you're looking to try to win the fight fast instead of playing extended fights, because you're not going to win those anyway. So in that case, would it be worth buying the Shard? Probably not.
Yeah.
You want to get that very quick advantage with that Shadow Blade here.
Ags officially online for Yataro. And he's already turned into Dark Willow, just getting used to the feel of the new body, as it were. So Shadow Realm with Ags, for those that don't know, you can basically attack consistently while it's on, so you just get this extra magic damage boost.
Well, seeing it put to use here.
Yep. And you get the extra range. It is very powerful.
Nothing wrong here.
Nope. Well, it's not 2 fissures, so... not 2 enchant totems with Fey grenades.
That is a very dangerous way of thinking about balance in Dota. If you're like rebalancing heroes, you're like, well, at least they don't have 2 fissures, so everything is fine, right?
Well, that's the beauty of Dota.
Justify almost anything.
Most of the ultimates in this game, like if you just look at it in a vacuum, it's just like, wow, that is actually overpowered. But that's the beauty of it.
Yep. Every hero is kind of quote unquote broken in its own way.
Well, not every hero. Troll's ult still sucks. Let's be real.
It's broken in its own way.
That's true. In a different way entirely. But no. Man, Troll, I wish he was picked more in this tournament. One of the more exciting position ones to watch, because the ultimate, you just never know what's going to happen, right? From a viewer perspective, at least. As Puppey taking out some illusions here. And the real question is, Yapzor working on an Ags, and he is. So about 1,800 away from finishing that. Dark Portrait could have a big impact on this game, as we illustrated earlier.
He is also queuing up the Shard. It does give him some interesting counterplay potential with that strong Dispel. If he precasts it on Jugger or Void Spirit when they go in, can obviously save them from Ravage or from Terrorize or, line combos. As long as they instant press one of their defensive abilities coming out of the Swell. Could prove to be really useful, but not.
Zai gets off the Horn Toss, Skewer into the RP, but the BKB is activated. It's not really going to help against the Omni Slash, but a lot of it is tank with creeps. So Toronto Tokyo getting some backup with Collapse and a huge Ravage. Down goes Matu, and now you see Yataro at his best. E-Blade double kill, 3 dead for Secret in his Shadow Realm form, just decimating. Nisha able to get a pick off though. But very unfortunate that there was a creep wave there, Sinner, because I think he was dead.
I'm not even sure he was dead there.
It's possible.
You gotta look at the stats for this. I don't really like this try from Secret. I like the logic of going for the play itself, but you got to take into account what the numbers are, right? This is a Kunkka with 3,000 health and 40 armor. He has AC and Blast Rig. So super tanky against this Jug Magnus combination, and kind of seemed like a bait the whole time that they put him in front like that. Oh, no, that's a dead line trying to ward. Dude, Nisha finds so many picks in these games on the supports just randomly. Instantly assassinates the Willow and now finds the Lion. This is still, despite losing those 2 heroes in the end for Spirit, a huge win for them. Getting the core kill onto Mag and Jug. And having RP and Omni
see the replay here. Horn
so
toss.
Look at this Omni. So there's
that's
it's
4
3 swings. There's no way.
All right, it would have been close, but yeah, you're right. I think he would have lived.
He is just insanely tanky. And Willow, Morphlow just killed everyone.
Sure. That would be funny if for no particular reason it just changes the hero name temporarily while you're in that form. Just combines them. And Secret have now smoked up, so
what
trying
would be
to get
the
back
best
into this
name
game.
for Morph in this game if he took half of another hero's name?
Morph Hunter.
Morph Hunter's pretty good.
Yeah.
Morph Spirit?
Morpheon. Almost sounds like a Matrix thing. You wouldn't know anything about that, of course. Secret trying to find something here. Nisha at the top of the hill here. Actually going to use the Tome of Knowledge for himself. Toronto Tokyo Company are trying to gain control of their triangle
RP
again.
is up again. No Omni for another 5 seconds, though. So Team Spirit probably don't have the perfect timers here on spells. They might have felt like if we go right now, the ultis are down. Secret will have them now, though. But regardless, the fight will not break out anyway. Roche up in 1 minute. Silver Edge complete on Matu gives him the possibility of killing Tide very easily. And of course, I think Matu plus Nisha can just kill the Tide from full HP if they get the Silver Edge hidden and they just go to town, both of them together. But Collapse has been doing a good job at not getting caught out. Interesting to see Tide not really play a frontline position for the most part for the lineup. It has been that Kunkka BKB. He waits behind and finds the Ravage.
He can straight up buy Ags right now and Collapse, but obviously wants to preserve the buyback in case a Roche fight has is going to come here soon, I would assume. As
Puppy's
Puppy
found.
X with the boat. Puppy, Crimson Witness. Will it save him, Cinderin? That is a red Nature's Attendance.
It's not
Absolutely. He lives.
Yeah, he's tanky. He's got the Solar Crest Glimmer Cape and the level 4 heal, plus the Attendance talent on 15 and the Magic Resist talent on 10. One of the biggest upsides to Enchanters in the mid-game as a support is honestly just your ability to soak damage. Whether you die there or not, the enemy team has to commit a lot of spells, and if you're fighting next to your own outpost, you can buy back, connect back in, and maybe your team can win the fight off all the spells that are gone. So, yeah. Didn't even have the strong dispel on Yapsor yet there. I don't know why I thought he had that, but he's obviously still working on the axe. But that will help eventually.
Yeah, Grimstroke scales so well. I mean, it's cool to see a hero that was originally kind of like, okay, we picked this hero for a double spell because of Soulbind. They don't really have that at all here, right?
Right.
But he's picked for multiple reasons now. One of which is the shard with the dispel, like you talked about, and of course Aghanim Scepter being a pseudo counter to some of these ridiculously high agi or stat-based carries like Morphling. But still a ways away from finishing that. As Toronto Tokyo making his way to Secret's jungle.
Nisha's in.
All right, Nisha doing a lot of damage to Lion in the meantime. We see a skewer on the other side. Toronto Tokyo gets RP'd again.
He won't live
into the
this
Omni
time.
Slash again. Will he live this time, Cinderin? The Blade Fury is out. He's not doing that much damage, but finally goes down. It takes so much to kill him.
Great Earthquake.
Spike on Nisha, E-Blade, but there's the Eon Disc to proc. A huge kill for Secret, but my lord, Cinderin, Gaben Almighty, that took a lot.
Yeah.
Into the Roche Pit, I assume they will attempt.
Yeah, no buyback on the Kunkka. They don't know this, obviously, but they might have a feeling because of the Chrysalis that he was showing in that fight. Doesn't seem like they have the confidence to try to push for it, though. Even 4v5, I think Team Spirit can still win a fight. Well, they don't have Ravage either, though, so maybe not, but I'm never counting out Morph Willow.
True.
Crazy stuff can always happen, and they're going to find it.
Initiation. Yataro's in here as well, but Nisha jumps in and blows up the Lion. Buyback to come right afterwards. Looks like Puppy's going to live here. Matu continuing to go ham. Double kill for him. 3 dead for Team Spirit. Yataro in his Shadow Realm form gets the silence off. Can they actually bring him down this time? Impetus does quite a bit of damage. There's the Astral Step to follow. Has his attribute shift. They just not doing enough damage to him. Yataro getting spinned out with that Shard Matu. Into the Aether Remnant. Another buyback for Team Spirit. Yataro gets the waveform off. There's the burst damage from Lion. Yataro finally taken out by Nisha. It takes so much to kill these heroes.
The most
but Secret
pitiful
find it.
E-Blade combo I've seen in my entire life. He did a grand total of like 150 damage with his E-Blade adaptive strike onto Matu. Fully strength morphed. He threw everything he had in the bag at him, and it was nothing. And Secret, all of a sudden, this one fight, oh my god, talk about dropping off a cliff. Look at these graphs.
Oh, yeah. That is quite some graph there. As we see,
look at this graph.
The beginning of the fight here again. Nisha doing a great job.
Such a good start for Secret in that fight. And yeah,
you can see. Okay, Matu Shard makes a huge difference here, Cinder, and that Blade Fury absolutely decimates.
Yeah. I really like his choice of waiting with getting it until after the Silver Edge, though. I think that was
so
overall
tanky.
a good choice. So we're going to see the rest of this replay play out. Try to pay attention to this E-Blade coming in. Out of all things, I am focusing on it because it's such a standout low damage spell.
All right, let's wait for it.
Morph down this far. So they find Jug here, and here it is.
Boom! Oh, yeah!
Damn!
That felt real good, I'm sure. Well, Zai, very animated. You don't see that very often. But Team Secret, knowing that they have turned this game around. Double damage is available for Matu. He's going to bottle it up. Aegis is in his inventory.
Secret know how much is at stake here and how they're very experienced players. They know this game is hard, and they know they were behind. So that fight means so much to them. And they're going to try to snowball off at Matu. In the Silver Edge will not find anyone. He's actually going to run through an Ob Sentry combination here, so Team Spirit know he's coming up.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not even sure who took the shard because every single member of Secret has their shard now. Might have been Yapsor.
I think it was Yapsor, yeah. Probably.
So that is very cool to see. And Matu and company waiting for... all their ults are back up, so it can go at any time now with that Aegis still in tow. As Collapse has a Shivas for himself. I mean, from Team Spirit's perspective, is there an item or maybe a talent that they're needing to get to take to the next level here in these fights?
I'm wondering if Tide needs BKB. Oh, they found him, bottom. Matu.
Oh, yeah, Miposhka gets the stun off Matu. That's going to be the Aegis.
Good catch.
Not a ton expended here.
They got what they came for. Really, really nicely done. Not overstaying for the second kill. Straight back to mid. That's a big pick. That Aegis is important for Secret if they wanted to pressure some high ground, and now they might have to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially Zai. You can't show emotion like that. It's not on brand. Take it easy, bro.
Oh, we have the initiation on Toronto Toki. He's going to force out the BKB, so nicely done for Secret. Didn't look like they were wanting to commit anyway. So ends up baiting that out. Butterfly now on Matu. Any big talents we're looking forward to here, Cinderin? 25 is close. For Matu, you can go for the extra HP or Omni Slash duration.
Nishas will be huge.
Yeah, Nishas is. Oh, we've talked about that so many times.
Kunkka 25 Ghost Ship Fleet.
Yeah.
He might take the Tidebringer cooldown as well. It will lower the cooldown from 4 to 2 seconds. He has a lot of damage items, so could be a decent choice here as well. Morphling 25 will more than likely take 2 waveform charges. Will most definitely take 2 waveform charges, especially when he has Willow in his team. You turn into Willow, you waveform through the entire team twice, and well, you probably don't do that at this level. They'll probably position properly, but you get the idea. Thanks, Mark.
It's all about the theory.
Yep. Yeah, Secret can't really access the base right now, but they do have them cornered, and that's what they really want here. They have Team Spirit pinned down. They will find the one avenue to exit their base, which will be through this bottom lane, as Secret are clearly holding on to the triangle.
I mean, something to keep in mind here is we can see the buyback status. Matu doesn't have his, but everybody else on his team does, and 0 people from Team Spirit have one, but obviously Team Secret won't be privy to this information, or at least most of them, as Morphling only needs a couple, or 400 gold to get his. And now new neutral items are dropping, Cinderman. We got Spell Prism, okay.
Goes on the Morph. I think he's going to keep it. Very good for him to get the CDR.
As we have a Ninja Gear on Secret, so could be potentially put on Zai. Yeah, believe he picked it up there, so we'll give him that single target smoke so he can get off his initiations without being seen.
And Matu gets the Penta-Edged Sword. I think this is one of the best heroes in the game to get this item on. You get obviously the flat damage, but the attack range, and then the maim that Sanj
old
used to
school
have.
Saint
Old
Yasha
school
maim.
Sanj.
Man, happy they brought that back, actually. I missed that. As Yataro is in his Dark Willow form. Zai is going to show in the bottom lane, but only to defend. Keeping a safe distance here. He's going for a BKB for himself as well. Very tense game here, Cinder. And the Hex initiation from Miposhka. Into the Gush to follow. Collapse actually blocks off the tree line. Very nice. And with the finger and the E-Blade, Zai takes a tumble. Puppy. They still have buyback on Zai if they really want to fight here. Puppy feeling pretty confident. There's the jump in from Nisha. Trying to go for the Dark Willow. Not going to be able to get the kill yet. And looks like Secret are playing a little bit more defensive. But they do force the buyback out of Zai.
Secret, that was a little bit uncharacteristic for them. You know, there's nothing for Zai to really TP on. There's no tier 2 tower. There's obviously no outpost in this area that he can connect with. And Team Spirit have all the opportunity in the world there to disengage. There was nothing pinning them down so the mag would be able to connect in time. And eventually ultimately that just feels like a wasted buyback that doesn't really give them anything unless they find an opening now. Nisha completes his Octarine Core. Yapzor will complete his Ags in 50 gold. And despite that, Secret are still looking to fight so close to a really key item potentially.
We'll try to find he's going to get sheeped right off the bat. This will be a dieback for Team Secret, and they lose Yapzor as well. Matu, he's going to get his TP canceled as well. There's the Terrorize to follow. Team Spirit, 3 quick kills in their favor.
They had that old Obs sentry down here from 4 minutes ago that Secret were standing on, and it makes all the difference there for getting that Hex onto the mag. I think Yapzor got one shot with the Kunkka cleave as well, by the way.
Definitely disappeared somewhere.
That was just that Silver Edge hit onto the mag. Yapzor just vanished. That's huge. They don't have buyback on Jug or mag.
Yeah,
this is at least, if they push for it, they could almost win. This is reminiscent of the IG game in the upper bracket that we started out the entire main event with, where Team Spirit fall behind. They find one key fight, and then just go for everything. Let's see if they have the confidence here to do it. They
Yep,
know
they
there's
get the
no
tier
buyback on
3.
Mag. They don't know about Jug.
Yeah. Not knowing about Jug means that they probably play this a little bit safe. So they're going to get the bottom set of racks. Nope.
Are we talking
Collapse
about
is
the same Team Spirit here?
Yep, they're going for the win here. We have the X into the boat. Down goes Puppey. He does have buyback. Nisha jumping in, trying to buy some time for his team, but still 40 seconds away from these core heroes coming back. Nisha, Eondis does proc. Fortification is finally forced out for Team Secret. Team Spirit looking to finish this game number 2 to force a game 3 in this lower bracket finals. Dark Portrait is available for Yapzor. As we see the Soulbind, there is the Dark Portrait. Morphling doing a lot of damage. The Silence coming in from Nisha as well. Yatara getting extremely low, trying to focus the Ancient. He dies, but buys back into the game. The Ravage now, though. Nisha's dead, buys back himself, focusing on the racks. Where is Yataro? He's still trying to make his way onto this side of the map. They're just going to focus the racks, and Team Spirit take game 2 in very, very exciting fashion.
What a way to win that game. You know the saying, wards win games. I don't think Team Spirit, when they placed that ward combination down there, expected that that was what was going to win them the game 4 minutes later. But what do you know? Secret wander down there, they get caught off guard, and they don't have their buybacks. And this was a game that Secret pulled back from looking really, really rough. They get into a favorable position, they lose their Aegis on Matu bot, and then they still continue to play offensively in the enemy jungle, and they get punished really hard by an incredible play from Spirit. These guys just have something.
Yeah.
They just have something, you know?
There's something they have that I want as well, Cinderin, but we're too old for that, sadly. But it is tied 1-1 in this lower bracket finals between Team Secret and Team Spirit. Let's go to the panel to break down this game number 2.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Effie, as soon as you saw the draft, you were just like, yep, Spirit have got this in the bag. And you were right.
Yeah. To me, that looked like a really free Morphling game, to be honest. There was no pressure for him on lanes. It looked like he would hit his timings really well, and of course he had the Willow combination. I know that a lot of people were praising Secret's draft maybe in that game, but it didn't look very good because I don't like the combination of Ench Grim supports, and I don't want to just make this about draft, right? Because they took some really good fights. Nisha played out of his mind, and it looked like there was a moment where they were just back in the game. But I don't know. I don't want to make it specifically about drafts, but there is a couple of things that I wanted to highlight, which is number 1, Dark Willow looked so good in that game, right?
Yeah.
And when you think about it, BSJ was talking about this Helm of Iron. Oh, sorry, I'm like out of breath. I'm like drinking.
We also ran out to the desk, right? So it's allowed.
Sorry, I'm like I haven't caught my breath yet. But so BSJ was talking about the Helm of Iron Will meta and how Enchantress is actually one of the very good heroes at punishing that, right? Because she hits it through armor and kind of zones them out of the lane. But the thing about Willow is she's a lane support. She does not really go mid unless she has to. So she was able to just sit on that lane and secure his game. And oh boy, did she bully the Ench.
We like a little bit of a bullying Dark Willow. Never underestimate the tiny fairy. In terms of the supports on Secret side, Enchantress, and then we have the Grimstroke as well.
Yeah, not the support duo that can go around the map and like do stuff. Puppey was very annoying, as he always is on the Enchantress, being in your face. I feel Yapzor should have given a bit more farm priority to be able to finish off that Aghanim Scepter. Could be a game changer. Unfortunately for them, there was no big boy Philly, no Philosopher draw for them, because it can make the difference. It's probably the best item you can find on the Grimstroke, especially in this situation. So you want to make a replicate out of the Morphling, which did not happen. But to go back to Dark Willow, I think he had a really good game, and also a bit back to lore, Mira playing the Mireska. So, a bit of a nice
Purge, would you like to see an Enchantress and Grimstroke maybe swap lanes?
Almost certainly no, just because it's really important that Enchantress is able to stabilize Juggernaut, and that's why it was so important that Mira did a good job pressuring him, because Puppey made that uncharacteristic mistake. He walked through 2 Bramble Mazes, and that got him killed. And Enchantress typically wins lane. Now, Puppey still had a great mid and late game because he was tanking team fights, and that gave his team a lot of opportunities to do, like, disables on Kunkka with Omni Slashes, but eventually, Team Spirit got those great hexes and disables, and that's what opened the game up, was initiation.
And that's Dark Willow's strength, really. Like, if you place Brambles on ramps, it's so hard to dodge those. And I was thinking about it, actually. So not only does she outright click the Enchantress, it would have to force Enchantress to play on the lane and not on the side, which is something that Enchantress does not like to do. And if she did that, she just gets gushed by Tide and killed by the Dark Willow. So I honestly feel like maybe a lane swap would have actually been better in that.
Team Spirit did a lot of good smoke rotations, invading the enemy triangle, going for that Juggernaut kill, using the torrent from the fog and getting also a couple of stacks from there. Also nice cute little play from Collapse backpacking his Vlads while there were smoke, so you can't see them coming. They're coming through the creep wave, but he's backpacking it, so there's no that buff on the creeps. And just the efficiency of the Team Spirit has been out of the roof so far throughout this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, though, sometimes Team Spirit are allowed to get away with certain mistakes? Like, for example, they didn't get away with it because Secret farmed them, but when they got Roche about 22 minutes in, they were then just picked off by Team Secret, and that was a great advantage for Secret, but they couldn't quite capitalise on it. I'm just wondering if Spirit deserved to lose more from that moment.
Yeah, typically they would have lost more, but given the nature of their draft and how Morphling was under no threat until Juggernaut got a Scotty, and then maybe another heal reduction item even, it didn't translate into any kind of map control, really, just because of the nature of both drafts, right? And for Secret's draft to have won at that point in the game, they would have had to take it very, very late, because then that's when they would have struggled. But a hero that I wanted to highlight, who was kind of an unsung hero, was the Kunkka, right? He tanked so many spells. He tanked Omnislash, he tanked everything, and he just didn't die. It really felt like they had damage issues at some point.
Well, Toronto Tokyo, I suppose we didn't really talk about him much in the first game. In this game, then, he's your MVP, Effie?
I think collectively they all played very well. My personal MVP would probably be just the Mira plus Yotaro combination in that game, but his hero did a lot for them in terms of absorbing damage.
What about you, Purge?
Yeah, that was really impactful. Having those really tanky strength heroes with high armor. In this case, he got the AC relatively quick with the SNY and the BKB, and he was the frontliner. And it's really important to have that. That was something the Team Secret draft kind of lacked. It makes it harder for Zai to do his job, to jump in, initiate, catch the right people. So he had to struggle with that a bit, unfortunately for them. So, but as a whole, he played excellent. He's had great Kunkka performances pretty consistently throughout the tournament. He's still had great GPM, last hits, everything. So, yeah, still playing really good. It wasn't 20 minutes, but it was a good game for Team Spirit.
So in some ways, we're now going to see a bit of a grand reset between Spirit and Secret, because this next game wins it, the cost.
Yeah, this is just a best of one, and which team can reset. I think for Team Secret, they had a huge boost of confidence once they won against OG and dropped them to the lower bracket. This was the big rivalry, not just in-game, but also on Twitter. A lot of memes, they had some beef before, and this is where Team Secret, got a bit of a good win in the back. Looking at the Team Spirit, this is a team that just doesn't care. They don't care about what's happening in the game. They're going to be playing this top-tier Dota. They're not going to be overusing their abilities. There's not going to be almost no mistakes made. When you watch them play while they're winning, it's just, beautiful. I don't think I've seen team perform so well under so much pressure and being so relatively young. They have some experience coming out from the Silent, their coach, and also Miposhka, but the rest of the team is very young.
That really showed, I think, yesterday when they won their match as well. I was surprised when they won. They sit up from their seats and they're not freaking out when they got top 3 instead of top 4. They're like, all right, we won. Next game. It's Frank, you said that earlier about Miposhka. He's like, oh, we haven't won yet. That's the Kuro mentality that we've heard in years past. It doesn't matter until you win the whole thing.
Well, one game stands between Puppy, who has been to 10 internationals. Standing between him and the final is, of course, Team Secret. This could be his last game on the TI-10 stage. So we're going to check in with him and find out what he thinks of his teammates.
I probably have the best connection with these people than any team I've ever been in. If all of us didn't need to play Dota together, we would be in a very, very good spot as people. Nisha is our quiet, skilled boy, really great guy. Nothing bad I can say about this dude. Same thing for Zai, skilled dude. We hang around all the time. All of our team just constantly chills out at Discord. Matu is just the greatest. He's just hilarious without knowing that he's hilarious type of thing. Yazid is just, he's just a clown, honestly. But he's just the funny things he says and the charismatic strength he has is very high. And he is just he's just great. He's literally a very good rational person. He just can listen to you. And even though he disagrees with you completely, he can completely disagree with you, like hate everything that you just said, but it won't show. He's a politician, goddammit. This guy doesn't show anything. He's gonna go far, but for now he's coaching some little children playing Dota, like me. It's important to actually be a child in this game. It's important to do it, because if you don't have that same feeling, a child's gonna beat your ass. Sorry.
Interesting though, I like the puppy's own description of himself is as a child. And the team of kids are now making their way to their favourite kind of playground. It is the main stage here at TI10 at the National Arena Bucharest. This is the moment of truth for both of these teams. One game standing between them and the grand final against PSG LGD. These booths have probably never felt so intimidating, but one of these teams, they've been here before. They've been here many times, and for Team Spirit, well, they know it's anyone's game, and after that second game performance, they're going to really be believing in themselves right now, Lacoste.
Oh yeah, they're just feeling themselves as this tournament progresses. They tend to play better. They don't crumble under the pressure. It's just, I don't know. I've been praising them so far throughout the tournament. I don't think I can find like another way to say how good they are and how enjoyable they are to watch.
May I just say, I love what Puppy said in that interview about having to be a child to be here and win this game, because you still have to enjoy what you do and you have to love the game and you have to just be able to not feel the nerves and just kind of immerse yourself in this environment to win. And look how far they've made it. And that's exactly the quality that Team Spirit has, by the way. That's taken them this far, I would say.
Yeah. In this interview, Puppy was, to sum it up, it was pretty much, just a bunch of dudes being bros kind of a mentality.
It really helps a lot, too, when you have losing streaks where you have a bad game. Then your morale doesn't drop. You can still, keep your head together. No one's, mad at each other. Any of those, underneath problems that you have with each other don't, boil up and become big issues. You can just reset and play another game as long as you have a slightly better draft or different strategy.
And I'm glad that Team Secret can do this, but also I remember at the Animajor, when every team was always so stressed, every night they would go to their practice rooms and just do whatever they do in there. Sometimes they're just talking, sometimes they're reviewing drafts, but in their free time, Team Spirit would just go play ping pong, and they would play ping pong for hours. Anyone who walked down to get anything from the Animajor lobby would just see them playing ping pong. They would hog the table. So just the fact that they can just have fun together and not be that nervous during these kinds of events is really cool.
Yeah, and we've seen some spikes because they've been acting, like those Giga Chad dudes, but we've also seen a Giga Chad coming out from Toronto, Tokyo with the easy game. That's the stuff that I like to see.
Well, for Team Spirit, it has certainly been quite the journey. Speaking to Mira yesterday, he was talking about the fact that he joined in February. He'd played with Collapse earlier on in 2020. And now this team is in the top 3 at the International. A Cinderella story, if we ever heard one.
Team Spirit versus Team Secret. Game 3.
And we're here with a draft of Game 3 between Team Spirit and Team Secret with my panel of BSJ and Jenkins. There we go. That was way less cool than we thought it would be. I thought it was very cool.
Thank you.
Especially with a slap. Anyway, we're here with the third draft. What can we be expecting, my wonderful analyst BSJ?
I think we're expecting a Magnus again, but they may have to ban out the Tide. It just makes the game a lot more complicated when you have a hero you can't RP that's walking right at you.
Would you agree, Jenkins?
Yeah, that seemed like a nice solution to the Magnus, the RP. Even the fact that, okay, when we're talking about Pudge Hook, going back to Pudge, who's the one hero you don't want to hook in?
Why?
Why
do we have to go back
because
to Pudge?
Everybody
We're
knows.
gonna see Pudge at this draft, that's what he's saying.
Everybody knows this example. Literally every single Dota player knows the example of, Pudge hooks the Tide, he ravages, you die. Magnus is the same thing, but also, okay, actually no, it's not banned. Lion is banned. All supports.
So I guess
You're
Team
saying
Secret
that he doesn't
agrees?
want to skewer in the tide.
Yeah,
you're
you don't
giving
want
him
to
a free initiation. I think was the entire point.
So you have
of
the Kraken shell for the RP, but then also the element of you don't want to skewer in a Tidehunter, and Tidehunter is going to stand in your face. It's the same thing where when in the Animajor, people were picking Dragon Knight, and then the counter to it was to put the Tidehunter in front, who's going to Kraken shell off the stun. But it's not just that. It's also like Dragon Knight doesn't pull the Tide into the fight.
But they banned Lion.
They did indeed ban Lion.
Yes, that's like a Tide, but with only one direction.
Maybe they enabled the Tide with the Lion just because Tide, like historically, you just don't fight him. So you just play the split push game, farm it up,
pick off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. It's been happened before, though. I remember in the I think it was TI9 when they fought against Liquid. They were talking about the Alchemist plus Chen strat, right? That was TI9, I think. And they in the exit interview, they said that, or Puppy said that they thought the Chen was the problem. It was actually Alchemist the whole time. So it might be one of those repeats when they see a combo and they think the Lion's the problem, but it's actually the Tide, as Jenkins said.
Yeah, or like the flip side, like maybe this is like the 5-head play from Puppy, is that the Lion is the actual issue and it's not necessarily the Tide.
I would trust him more than you.
Yeah,
generally.
of course, naturally.
Yes.
So they should probably pick Io here. Oh, they're going to plan for the Io.
Oh, and they get the Magnus.
So what happened against LGD was that Secret... Okay, this started with Team Spirit seeing a Tiny in the lower bracket and responding with Wyvern Mag. And then LGD... Okay, I'm sorry. Secret did the same thing to LGD in the winter bracket finals where they let LGD have the Tiny and responded with Wyvern Mag. And you don't want to pick Io into Wyvern Mag because the Io Tiny will just get RP'd and cursed together and the Io will just die. So they replaced the Io, like the buffer, the attack speed, with an Ogre on the side of LGD. So we're seeing like 3 series carry over from one to another.
The Ogre was first phase banned here too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They banned the Ogre.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like you never expect an Ogre to be first phase banned prior to like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But because of how things have progressed in terms of essentially countering the Tiny, this is what has happened. That Ogre is first phase banned.
So it's interesting because that was probably a read by Team Spirit saying we still have Tide in the pool, and they actually probably agree with you that if they first pick Mag, we just Tide and we beat them again. So they knew the Tiny was going to happen, which is why they last banned the Ogre.
Yeah, it's a lot of mind games going on. We see the Tiny when it's first picked is almost always a Necro, Ursa, Lifestealer are usually the 3 bans that come out in the second round. These teams, they just learn from each other. They see things that work and don't work, and sometimes it's a matter of like Lifestealer, for instance, isn't a free game versus Tiny by any means, but we saw one of the few heroes that doesn't mind getting slapped by Tiny for 10 seconds in a row because he will sustain it, and also ET's aura doesn't work through Magic Immunity, so that's a hero I'm keeping an eye out for. They've actually banned the Ember.
Interesting.
Ember Mag.
Yeah, last time we saw LGD actually do this against Secret, where they picked the Tiny and then they banned out like all of the counters in the second phase. But then they also picked the Phoenix into Snapfire. And I was thinking a big reason that they did that is because they essentially decided, and we were talking to Seb backstage actually about this, that LGD had essentially decided that those were all of the heroes that they didn't have an answer to, and anything that they had left in the pool, it was likely that they had some sort of counter pick, you know, like a Pugna versus like Necrophos, for example, if you've got a great Pugna player. And then Phoenix, picking it into Snapfire is kind of insane. It's like you just press, I always forget the
little
shredder, and then you kill the egg, right? But the thing is, it's like a tiny counter, and then it's also good for the team fights, and so you're block picking it, and then you're also getting it. It's better for the game.
But now we also made a point that in that specific draft, it was really difficult for the Snapfire to get into position and actually shoot the egg down, which actually forced Secret into the Weaver
heroes,
pick.
Like there was like a Puck and
exactly.
other heroes like that.
So Secret went for the Weaver trying to break the lines, and then they got a bad core-to-core matchup. So we might be seeing something similar for Spirit if we see Secret going for more team fight.
I think we will see a Weaver or a Snap come out for Spirit
Okay.
in the laning phase against Tiny. Those are 2 of the best supports because he starts with 0 armor.
This is the BSJ theory. How do you counter the Tiny according to you?
It's the 0 armor in lane. Like until level 6, Tiny is not good against physical damage. And these heroes eventually are still a nuisance for him because the Weaver bugs. They take a lot of attacks to remove, and Tiny does a lot of damage per attack, but doesn't attack very fast.
Yeah, like he basically has to build into attack speed in order to make up for the fact that he has none. Another nice thing about Weaver too is like obviously Spirit, they've been picking this throughout the entire tournament, so they know how to play it. That's going to play into whether or not they pick it. But you're playing against 2 melee strength heroes. Very easy to get the bugs on them. And then also you're going to pick up a Spirit Vessel on Weaver, and percentage magic damage is how you deal with the Tiny's massive HP pool and armor.
I have the last ban here. So what was they banned Lifestealer, I remember, and what was the other one that they considered?
It's usually Ursa. Yeah,
Ursa
the
and
Lifestealer. Because you have the ET, I think the Lifestealer is the better ban because he's not only good against Tiny, but he's also really good against your other hero.
So could this be an Ursa pick for Spirit, Jenkins?
It could, and I would assume that Secret, obviously having dealt with this in the LGD series, if they're letting an Ursa through, it's something that they think that they can counter. It's something that they think that they have an answer for. And I mean, that's what pro drafting is in general. It's like you think you have an answer for something. It turns out you don't. You ban it the next game. So whether or not Puppy's right about that is up for debate. But they could definitely pick the Ursa. It's great against Elder Titan too. Like there's absolutely no way an Elder Titan's going to run up and start punching an Ursa. So it's just a really easy hero that you can kill in every team fight, and it's worth killing him too.
Yeah, there's two thoughts going into this Ursa pick, because if you want the Ursa really badly, you're going to pick it here, but you're also not concerned that Secret's going to take it, because they already have most likely what is their carry, and if it isn't their carry, they're most likely going to leave it open until the last pick. So you have to ask yourself, if you plan to pick the Ursa anyways, you probably pick it here, because if you pick it fourth into counters that they already picked, then there's no reason to hold off, but at the same time, you're not worried about the other team taking it.
Rubik ban could be the Weaver that you were talking about yesterday.
It's Rubik or Snap. It's Weaver or Snap, I'm pretty sure.
But Rubik is also good against Magnus for the telekinesis, 0 cast point stun, or almost 0.
You know, the nice thing about Weaver as a support position is that it's kind of similar to what we saw when I believe Secret picked it as the carry position. It's that you can survive the Tiny Burst, well, you think you can survive the Tiny Burst, and then you press R and then you're full HP and Tiny doesn't have the burst, right? And so it's the same thing we saw Faceless Void actually beat the Tiny earlier in the tournament because of the same principle where you're just dodging all of the burst, and obviously Weaver has a longer cooldown on that, but as a support, you can have a carry who's actually building into Scotty, building into Satanic, these tanky items, and then save them with the Weaver Aghanim Scepter, and then all of a sudden Tiny's not as much of an issue.
I was not expecting the Willow again. It worked really well last game, but I don't think these heroes on Secret are the same as we saw, like the Magnus combo. They don't have like a clear time that you're supposed to terrorize in this game for the Willow. But maybe they also are unlikely to go for the Morph because you have ET on the other side who removes all of his armor. Interesting pick.
Maybe the idea is around the Brambles, because Tiny is not the traditional BKB carry due to his stat resistance, and then you're constantly getting brambled and you can't run around freely. Might also stop the potential Lycan Tiny combo.
Yeah, sure, and it's also like disengage too. You can just pick and choose your fights, and that sets up for the Winter Wyvern and the Magnus to hit better spells. Obviously, they're big counter initiators, and you want to pick and choose your fights.
There's the Lycan regardless. It's the LGD draft.
Lycan
I
Tiny.
think
I
Willow
see.
is that great against Lycan. It's like you're not going to die to the Lycan because you have Shadow Realm and maybe Terrorize to cover yourself, but none of this threatens the Lycan. Okay, now that you've controlled him or saved yourself, well, now what? And we saw that in the past, Mag, he used to build like Tread's Echo Saber from the mid lane, or even sometimes build a little bit to right click from the off lane, and this cleave was good against Lycan's summons. But now Lycan's aura is global, so the hero is usually never anywhere near his summons. And then you also build like mobility on the mag, so Lycan's really good at zoning out the mag.
And he's got one summon, one huge summon instead of two little necro
like in
units.
necro books, yeah.
Yeah, which you would kill. So this SD looks like it's preemptively kind of countering the Morphling, who you could steal illusions of, and I really do think the Team Spirit's about to pick Morphling. This draft looks like to me that they're just saying, we're really confident in this strategy, we just won with it, it looked really good, like we don't care if you counter us.
It might be preemptively countering Ursa as well.
That's
because
true.
You have the
Covers all
constant
bases.
dispel against the overpower. But you also have the save for the Winter's Curse and the RP. The disruption is incredibly powerful this game because Team Spirit doesn't have a way to jump him yet. They have to draft something like the Storm, and these heroes don't want to be playing into... Like Storm Spirit mobile heroes don't want to play into really beefy Lycans and Tinies. And Sven, yes, it looks nice because of the armor, the Warcry, but that is also purged by Shadow Demon.
Yep.
And if he gets to an Ags at any point, if it's maybe a 4-position Shadow Demon, that break as well as Dispel consistently, it just ruins Sven.
Yeah, this is a really kiteable Sven, it looks like right now. In terms of at least Team Secret's draft, they have the Disruption from Shadow Demon, they have the ult from Shadow Demon, they have all the tiny stuns, which are on a low cooldown, Elder Titan, who's throwing all of these spells into melee range, BKB Piercing, of course, the Earth Splitter. The Lycan can run his units around you. Of course, you can cleave those. We already talked about the cleave's not as good as it was before. But then on the flip side, there is a lot of setup potential from Spirit in terms of having some crazy wombo combo in the team fight. You have the Sven cleave on top of the Magnus of Power, giving him even more cleave, as well as these like massive team fight ultis. They could 100% have the Sven 1v5 in this game, but it requires some team fight synergy.
And no Shadow Demon. Because the Shadow Demon really destroys this whole idea. If he gets purged, you lose the Empower there, you lose your Warcry, you're getting kited.
True, yeah.
Like, this Shadow Demon has completely
It's a
nullified.
great pick.
Yeah.
It's a great pick.
Yeah, this is what Seb was talking about off panel yesterday as well, where these teams know what kind of hero you have to pick. They've picked Lycan and Tiny. You have to pick a durable hero that can clear the summons.
Yep.
Shadow Demon's good against pretty much all these heroes that do that. So they pick the Shadow Demon knowing that no matter what, you're still going to pick it into a counter. Like, you would never, on paper, pick Sven into Shadow Demon, but there's other issues that they have to solve on the Team Spirits draft, so they don't mind one bad matchup. It's just really, really cool, like, thought process from these drafters.
And then Spirit bans out the puck, which is exactly what LGD ran with a very similar draft yesterday. I would be surprised if Secret doesn't just go for... Okay, so the Void Spirit is banned out, Ember is banned out. We need a Spirit-type hero because none of these Secret heroes want to go in and actually get stuff started. This is what we've seen in all of the drafts so far from them. So what do we have left? Storm's a little slow.
Could they run something like a DK, for example, instead?
The problem is you don't know the lane matchup. Oh, they go with Alina. Okay, so something that's going to win the lane no matter what.
But now you lack the initiation you were talking about, so Tiny's going to have to be the one.
It's going to be Lycan's job.
Oh, Lycan.
I think it's going to be Lycan's job. They're not going to have hard initiation. They're going to have cause chaos, and eventually you'll separate, and the Tiny will be able to land his abilities. They have a lot of poke, a lot of prod, and then eventually, once they get the fight started, their damage on Team Secret is immense. Once you get the Tiny Lycan timing, the Wyvern's really good against Tiny because of the slow from Winter's, from Arctic Burn, but that doesn't matter if you're hasted.
DK here.
And they go for, you have to go for something like this to jump the Shadow Demon, but my emphasis is this hero is not good conceptually against push lineups. You don't want your towers getting pushed. You want your team setting up the rotations. I think Team Spirit's going to be on the back foot. I don't like being on the back foot when I have a Sven. He's a pretty strong laner who wants to pick fights on his own terms rather than defensively. If any team can pull it off, it's Team Spirit, but I think Secret's got their number on this one.
I think the way Spirit wins this is through team fighting. There's always the snowball potential of a Storm Spirit if he gets an early Orchid. There really isn't much to disable him. I was thinking maybe like a Yule Scepter would be pretty good on Nisha this game, but it's just such an uncommon Lina build, and you've got the SD to set up for you already, so maybe you just don't go for that Yule Scepter, even though if the Storm does pop off, you probably need one. But yeah, I think Spirit can definitely win team fights, but Team Secret's draft is looking a lot like LGD's, and that looked pretty unbeatable, to be quite honest.
But Spirit wins for a comfort draft, right? This is the draft that they've played through and through. This is their bread and butter. Team fights, strong carry, Yatoro on the Sven, like even Miroslav on the Dark Willow.
Yep.
All these heroes are heroes they know how to play, so maybe they're just trying to go for a good draft they know how to execute.
Well, the way I think they win, honestly, is being close enough in the game once Secret goes high ground to win off the skewers into base. I think that is their best option because eventually the Sven can match the Tiny, but he needs like 4 or 5 items to not only do enough damage but also tank through what they're dishing out on Secret.
By the way, interesting on Secret is they swapped Eldritine and Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon's going to be a 5 this time.
I see.
And ET's going to be the 4.
Yeah, ET running in and disrupting seems really good this game, and as a 5, you can't do that because you just feed due to no items. But like Wyvern and Magnus, they're looking for these big counter initiations, which if you're using all of your spells to stop this like position 4 ET from punching you, then you can't do that. So I do think that actually makes a lot of sense, and the disruption is what's important from the SD as well as the ult.
And now, as the game begins, we're going to get everyone's favorite casting duo here on the stage. It's Sunsfan and Cinderin.
Hello, everybody. It all comes down to this, Cinderin. Game number 3. Millions of dollars on the line. Team Secret versus Team Spirit. We have a Tiny Lycan combo again. But, sadly, no Christmas tree.
Oh, no. What does he have? It's a regular tree.
It's very, very sad to see. Maybe, if they win this match with that extra few $1 million, he can buy the Christmas tree for himself, Cinderin. But what do you think of these lineups?
What a game this is going to be. Yeah, so Secret are playing a strategy that's very similar to what LGD did yesterday against them with the Tiny Lycan. I do think some key components are very different, though, from what made the strategy successful for LGD. I think the mid-hero by nature, having Lina instead of Puck, makes the dynamic of the game very, very, very different. Simply, you can't really catch in the same way. You don't have the same space-making type of mid, so Secret's lineup is slightly more on the greedier side. And as far as Team Spirit goes, they have insane teamfight. Obviously, Collapse on the Magnus has looked incredible this event. They have a lot of initiation power with the Storm, as well as potentially a Dagger Sven somewhere down the line. So I think it might sound crazy seeing how Secret got absolutely destroyed by that tiny Lycan yesterday, but I think Spirit actually have a really good shot at this game, primarily because of the difference in the mid lane, the way they set it up with their bans in the draft, and then always that wild card of Mag.
Indeed, and it seems to be a wild card in every game because he's picked every game, gets past that first phase of bans.
Disruption.
And disruption from Puppey, as Collapse will try to make his way to that top lane here. And yeah, this is going to be, I don't know, with the, we talked about this in game number 1, and maybe we can revisit it a bit, but a lot of pressure on Secret to perform because they are the experienced ones. Team Spirit kind of free-flowing, I guess is a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
But this has to be a pressure for everybody right now. Because I remember back in the when we did DC in the lower bracket finals against EG at TI6, everybody was nervous on both teams, and that led to a lot of mistakes, which made it really exciting.
Right.
So we'll see if that ends up coming to fruition in this game 3.
One thing to focus on for Secret when it's crunch time and you really need to get the win is that in this tournament so far, Nisha has been a standout player in that mid lane, and he has himself one of the best possible matchups against Toronto Tokyo Storm playing as Lina. So even though we don't have that same playmaking potential that we saw out of PSGLGD yesterday.
Disruption, Matu's there.
Okay.
All right. Oh,
Nice
neutral
play from
creep
Mira.
gets the first blood for the neutrals. That's a lot of extra gold for all those creeps. They combine, and then you just get even more gold when you kill them, Cinder, and that's definitely how it works. Denying first blood gold, though, that's pretty big.
That actually sounded like a suggestion Slacks could have come up with. Oh, if the neutral's killed, they should get all the bounty, and then if you kill the neutral keep, it gives 300
It
gold.
just gets larger and larger. Why not?
Why?
I don't know. Just because. Why neutral items, Cinder? And I love them.
Yeah, why not?
So Matu playing the Tiny, as we alluded to. Collapse finally not... I mean, he's playing the Magnus this time, Cinder. Basically, every performance that he's had at this tournament has been quite stellar. It's been kind of his showing out party. As we have a disruption again, Collapse, putting himself in the way of Matu so that Mira is not collapsed upon.
Well, he needs to be a little bit careful here, actually. Puppey coming in with the illusion
We
skewer.
have the skewer with the shockwave. They're going to try the 1v1 battle this. The Brambles come out as well. This is going to be first blood going the way of somebody, Cinder. Is Matu one right click? Nope. Looks like Puppey will get credit for that one.
And with the avalanche, he's opting not to chase down, but rather to straight up go up and salve Matumba Man and probably give him a tango here as well. Coming out of his own tango in a second. So, yep, Secret will get first blood there. That was very close. Obviously, Collapse playing off the knowledge that Avalanche would be on cooldown for quite a while there. Has been nerfed over time. It's 26-second cooldown level 1. Honestly, for what it does, a really long one when you think about it compared to other heroes. So, probably need some buffs to Tiny after this TI so that he can do better in lane.
Yeah, I would like that. As Courier's going to get sniped here from Yapzor. Looking forward to the briefcase being shown here in this game. But Nisha in the mid lane on this. Lina is at 19-9 for CS versus the 11-1 Toronto Tokyo.
He's gone woods.
Yeah, I can't blame him. This is not going super well for him, but he does have a nice stack here, so we'll be getting a good amount of gold overall. But Nisha is just left to his own devices, Cinder, and that's... We've been seeing him on Void Spirit mostly this series. It's a scary proposition for Team Spirit to leave him be. Puppey. Being harassed a bit here from Collapse as Matu making his way over as well. It is only a 1-0 advantage in this early game for game number 3. So much on the line here. I can't even imagine what's going through the heads of every single player in those booths. But Team Secret, they have a ton of experience to fall back on, and Team Spirit, they have, I would say, the momentum from the tournament, from the beginning of the tournament,
And
and
from the last
like,
game.
2 months even.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a game that they were doing well in, then it looked really grim, and they just grab the win out of nowhere. That's got to be a real confidence booster.
for sure.
Not really going to follow up on it,
Crowd
though.
goes wild with that shockwave.
Yeah, I didn't go for the skewer. I don't know if that would have led to a kill, but definitely could have done some significant damage to the Tiny. They're going to opt to just chill here. And let's talk a little bit about bottom, because we've been focusing along the other two lanes. So it's going to be a Toro Sven against Zai Lycan, obviously with the Elder Titan of Yapzor battling up against Miposhka's Wyvern. Actually, Yapzor could be in a bit of trouble here, but oh, never mind. That's not actually the case at all. Sorry for the misleading information.
Okay.
This is a good lane for Sven. Right? He's one of the carries that does the best against Lycan in lane. You have the natural building cleave when you skill upgrade cleave. You have good armor. So,
and you have power for double cleave, Cinderin. Very important.
True. It puts pressure on the Lycan in lane that he always needs to micro his wolves. There are some carries that you can play against where it's a lot easier, but you just have more stuff to manage here, more things that can go wrong. CSing just flat out gets harder because your wolves can just get stunned and they can cleave them down.
Yeah.
So, obviously, unsurprising to see Yatoro pull this far ahead of Zai as he is, obviously sitting now at 34 and 13 against 16 for 2, which is a much bigger lead than what Secret have in their top lane on Tiny, but the big story is Nisha is level 6.5, and Toronto Tokyo just got level 5. And mind you, this is without a kill in that lane.
Indeed. Yapzor has come as well, so Toronto Tokyo just getting forced out again, which means it's going to be extra damage to the tower in all likelihood. Miposhka being spotted out now as Yapzor's going to get even more damage as a result. And it's just one of those position fours that you just cannot ignore. Be able to beat the crap out of people with that briefcase of his. Or stapler, depending on what you like. But Toronto Tokyo looking for the bottom rune. He will get it, and it's an arcane. But still, not level 6, so can't really take true advantage of that. Yapzor applying some pressure to Miposhka in the meantime. The Arctic Burn is procced. Toronto Tokyo has to walk up and go into the jungle. As top lane, Puppy's in a lot of trouble. Looks like he's going to take a tumble, but Collapse will likely die to this poison, so it's a 1-for-1.
I think Matu was out of experience range for that kill, though, so still call that a win for Team Spirit. If Matu got the experience from that kill, that would have made a big difference. Maybe he did. I'm actually unsure, but Nisha
Toronto Tokyo does hit level 6 now. Yep, and he's going to jump on top of Nisha, but Nisha pretty healthy. Yataro making his way over. Mira's there as well, so it's a 3 versus 1. Even God Strength used. Whatever it takes to take out Nisha and into the jungle, into the triangle, Yataro goes.
Here, Yataro, since he rotated anyway, so might as well use God Strength there. They're going to stack one more time and then clean up whatever they can.
Yep.
Getting the Empower buff up as well here.
Oh, yeah.
That is juicy.
Very nice. So how's the Lycan Ags with Tiny this game? Like, is there a game where it's not good? Or is it just something, if you have these two heroes, that's something we should expect no matter what?
I think we should expect it in this game, at least. It's just, it puts so much pressure on the other team that they know that if Tiny isn't under control, you could literally get kind of one-shot comboed on almost any of your heroes once he has the items. So I'd be rather surprised if Zai doesn't go that route after his Helm of the Dom, which I believe is flying out now. It's on the way on that courier, so I'll be grabbing that. But good kill here for Team Spirit in the mid lane, taking advantage immediately of hitting level 6 on Storm to punish Nisha, who was playing hyper-aggressive. Obviously what won him the lane to begin with sets him back a little bit there with Storm Arcane Rune.
Top lane, Matu's getting forced out, has the Bramble there, but will walk away.
Secret are actually pretty far ahead in these two lanes. Collapse is level 5 to Matu's level 7, and mid Nisha, even after that death, is still a level and a half ahead of the Storm of Toronto Tokyo. Bot lane Zai level 6, and what is the Sven? Sven is level 8.5, so all the way across the board, slight advantage for Secret overall. And I guess that's good news for them, right? Keep in mind what their lineup wants to do. This is a similar story to what we had against LGD yesterday from Secret, where LGD were content to just farm for 20 minutes until
the Avatar
got what they wanted.
Okay, that's not that much damage. Collapse is actually perfectly fine. So continue your thought, Cinderin. Really apologize.
So carry Tinies will generally not do that much damage with that combo. Want to get the point into 3 grab. Grab it 3 times. Yapzor.
Yep, Stormhammer's there. Yataro pops his ult, and Yapzor just going to get chopped down into oblivion.
Oh.
And I guess
Zai's like, hey, Yataro, you want another 150 gold? Here you go. Gets his Dom creep, as well as Wolves, cleaved off in 2 swings from Yatoro. He's going to be very happy about that.
Yeah, Nisha, essentially a recipe away from finishing Yule, so that'll be a nice setup for his LSA combo. And Well, it kind of cookie cutter build, I would assume, from Matu as well. Echo Saber, Silver Edge, maybe
Probably.
a Blink Dagger at some point, or BKB.
Yeah, probably Echo Silver. I think it's fine. It gives you a possibility of one-shotting the Storm. You can one-shot Storm, Willow, or Wyvern as Tiny with a Silver Edge. On Willow, you need to be very quick to toss. You need to basically attack, instant toss, and then Avalanche while he's in the air, or he will get off the realm and escape. But the other heroes are very easy targets. Miposhka looking to defend bottom. It is a hard defense. There are wolves.
Yeah, but Miposhka
Dominator
is
range creep.
level 6, so Curse is available here, which can be really annoying for Lycan players.
Alright, they're going to give it up. Secret aren't going to try to continue pushing. Maybe too intimidated by the missing Storm. And Yatoro now, Toronto Tokyo now TPing mid. They could find Nisha here.
Yeah, LSA is going to connect with the Shadow Realm. Comes out, Matu coming, backstabbing, gets the Avatos, but still not enough damage to really do much to Toronto Tokyo. Curse Crown connects, and that'll break up the fight completely.
I feel like there might have been a potential play there for Secret to get a stun off from Lina onto the Storm if the Avalanche toss were staggered as much as possible out of Matu there.
Oh, the big jump in from Toronto Tokyo, and the Terrorize to follow. Puppies in the vicinity. Can they save him? Shadow, or the disruption is there, and now Toronto Tokyo looks to be the one taken out. It's going to be a 1-for-1 though. Laguna Blade expended, and now Mira getting absolutely beat down. Looks like Puppy gets credit for that one. So a 2-for-1 overall. Who died first between the mid laners?
I think the Storm was killed off first. Okay. Yes, he was. Did get the return gold onto Nisha there, but in the meantime, of course, you got to look at the rest of the map as well. Secret are gaining this bottom tier 2 or tier 1 tower, excuse me, with the siege creep. Oh, nice deny attempt from the push. Actually, almost got it there as Wyvern. But Team Spirit will trade for top. Didn't get the last hit on Yatoro, but still opens up the map a little bit.
Yeah, Yataro has the Mask of Madness, going for the Echo Saber, Blink, and then BKB. And from there, I would assume Silver Edge.
Yeah, Silver Edge could be a thing. I think maybe on second thought in this game you might want to just go AC. I don't know if you want to get the silver at all. You want to blink in and then you're going to just stand and deliver. I don't know if you're going to get the Silver Edge surprise jump. So yeah, I definitely like Dagger out of Echo and then BKB into probably AC and then either Satanic, Daedalus, the standard stuff.
Mr. Collapse himself, he has the mech ready to go. You can see Toronto Tokyo getting close to finishing Kaya. So again, not opting for the Orchid because there is a Yules on the opposing mid. Is there any consideration for... Oh, Nisha gets off some spells, gives him some nice movement speed, but Collapse finds the RP, and with Yataro in the area, all 3 cores, in fact, in that top river,
he's a big
able to
kill.
take out Nisha here.
It's worth it. You want to slow down the Lina as much as you can. Gets caught there. The Yules wasn't able to save him. It is a lot of mana out of Storm's pool every time he does this, so can't really farm too much out of it, I suppose, but you just want to, again, kill the Lina on every opportunity you get. You have a Sven that's totally free farming as well. So maybe in the next 10 minutes, Secret will, again, they just want to build up their Lycan as well as their Tiny. At some point, you might be able to flat out just contest them if Lina isn't strong enough. Seems to be the plan. Secret Nisha here is queuing up the BKB before travels. We'll see if that is the order.
I don't know if they can find him without the RP, but this would be a devastating kill onto Nisha.
Yeah, that would have been huge.
But still, Blink Daggers are coming soon enough for Team Spirit, which looks like that is next for Yataro on the Sven. And Puppy puts down a ward. You can see a little bit there.
Both Collapse and Yatoro should have a dagger in like 2 or 3 minutes, so that would be a really good time for them to look for opportunities that could potentially lead into Roche. I think it's maybe a little bit of a stretch for the lineup to do Roche this early unless you get a team wipe.
LSA connects, Laguna Blade to follow, but does not have the damage to finish it off. The tree disjointed by Toronto Tokyo. So decent amount expended, but Nisha's just going to go back into the jungle with a nice triple stack.
They find Collapse top.
Yep, they sure do. Cinderin got the Avatos combo with Puppy's ult. Collapse gets to skewer off, but can't make it to the high ground, and is eventually brought down by Secret. There's a smoke on Toronto Tokyo right now, but they are headed towards that bot area. Zai Almost done with the Helm of the Overlord, but might have to wait here, Cinderin, as Curse Crown with the Bedlam damage coming through. Looks like that's going to be an easy pick-off for Team Spirit. So it's off lane for off lane, essentially, as Miposhka getting destroyed by these wolves, has to curse the creeps just to survive. And at least he does so.
It's funny to think about how for a short while Wyvern was considered one of the strongest support counters to Lycan. And then Lycan was just like, well, what if I just don't run in my hero? And all of a sudden it wasn't fun for Wyverns anymore. This was obviously back in the day when we had Necronomicon. Made it a lot worse for the Wyvern as well, just the overall mana burn and total damage, how quickly it came in. But still, even with Helm of the Overlord, once that comes out on Zai, you just pop your ult and you run the Golem at Wyvern, what are you going to do?
Indeed.
It's tough.
And that'll also help amplify his farm to be able to actually get that Aghanim Scepter, to be able to bite his teammate and turn the Rockman into a wolf. As Yotaro is top of the net worth right now by a pretty decent margin, but that is kind of to be expected from a Sven.
With Empower.
With Empower in addition. Obviously, Tiny not able to get his shard yet, but that's
Yotaro wants to show off his blink here.
And Puppy gets off the disruption. Nisha on the back line. Yotaro jumps in with the blink dagger, but a nice Yules from Nisha. You can see the Bramble is going to apply to Nisha. They're going to apply all their pressure onto him now. Earth Splitter comes out. First to fall will be Puppy. The skewer into the RP. Several heroes caught in there. That is going to be a kill from Toronto Tokyo. Buyback now onto Puppy as Collapse getting beat down by the tree. So Secret do get a collateral kill here, but it's going to cost them dearly, Cinderin.
That worked out super well for Spirit, the way they jumped that with Toronto Tokyo and followed up. YapzOr didn't really manage to find a good stomp or splitter in that situation, so they couldn't really. That's the key counterplay that we'll usually have in a spot like this. Diving Elder Titan is really scary, or against Elder Titan rather. But with Puppy already using the disruption, they feel way more confident just locking onto a single target in that Lina and getting her down as soon as possible. So that was an instant cue to go. And the RP from Collapse, like you said, wonderful. So, was that actually only a 2-for-1 with a buyback from Secret?
Yeah.
What? How did
Toronto Tokyo dies?
Have to admit, I wasn't looking there.
Matu.
Shadowblade reveal.
Shadowblade, yeah. That is a huge kill for Secret.
That is big. He was dominating,
that
so he gets 650 bonus for that.
That negates that mid to fight entirely. Yep, basically, it's a wash now.
Big find for Matsu.
As you see the Rock Golem come into play now with that Helm of the Overlord. I feel like I haven't seen the Dragon in a long time, so it's always the Rock. Yep. Maybe there's a higher chance when Tiny's on your team. Shadow Realm popped to try to get away here.
Yeah, Matsu's going to wait for another tree before he goes and finishes this tower. Or they might just not do it at all. They're going to respect the potential play here from a Blink Skewer, as well as a respawning Storm, and Secret are going to wait for later. Honestly, I understand it. I don't think you have to really stress taking this tower. You have passive ways of slowly getting it, like Wolves, like the Helm of the Overlord. It will fall eventually. And if at any point Matsu makes a map read that he isn't going to get jumped, he can Shadowblade it and double hit it and it's gone. So, don't have to risk anything to get it here. A lot of composure and discipline there from Secret. YapzOr.
Tokyo, wants to find YapzOr. And it looks like he'll find him. Easy pickoff for Spirit again. Yotaro makes his way to the mid lane, and like you said, that Golem ends up getting the kill onto the tier 1 mid. So it was inevitable to fall. And that's going to give some nice gold over to Zai, as we have another Avatos killing off the Storm Spirit. Are you kidding me? Matu is just finding these incredibly important pickoffs. And it's just with a Shadowblade, too. It's not like this is Blink Dagger and Shadowblade to be able to come from
He might even
the
find
fog.
another one here. Oh, he's going to find a ward. Okay, so we'll get the Wyvern.
2 huge picks from Matu.
Yeah. With those kills, he's actually tied with Sven on net worth all of a sudden. So we're going to see the replay here of, I believe, the previous one.
Yeah, gets off the first right click with the Avatos and just enough damage. It's actually relatively close there. So, a couple very important deaths going in favor of Secret this time. Toronto Tokyo 4-3. So he was 4-1 before that. He was having himself quite the game. But you can see, just in terms of net worth, he is just right in the middle. That is not where you want to be.
He is below the Lycan who was laning against Sven at this point. That puts things into perspective.
But he does get an Essence Ring, so...
He does.
That'll help. That's a nice one.
It'll help if he doesn't get burst in a one-shot combo from Tiny. Unfortunately, that's what generally tends to happen against Tiny. Also, Lina, similar story. If he gets caught by a stun, might not even have time to use the Essence Ring. So it's nice in a lot of situations. Might even sometimes want to pre-pop it when he jumps in just for safety. But it is pretty expensive to use 200 mana cost to something Storm doesn't really want to throw away for nothing.
Team Secret sporting a 2k net worth lead now. It's right on the edge. We saw that. Yep, the back up to 3k now as Yataro. He is the member of Team Spirit. A lot of pressure on him now, Cinder, because of Toronto Tokyo's game. Winter's Curse. It's only on to Puppey, though. The skewer back from Collapse. It looks like they'll get this one.
Nice and easy. Pretty much a zero risk play with the Blink Skewer.
Does cost them a Winter's Curse, but not the longest cooldown.
No. And I don't think Secret are going to be super eager to go, especially not with Puppey with a buyback on, or with a dieback here, essentially, right? This was an old death that is being added on top now, so out for a minute. Don't need to worry about not having the curse. Nothing's going to come the way from Secret right now, most likely. As a matter of fact, it's going to be Team Spirit again going for a move. Oh, they might see Nisha here.
Yep, Soar.
Wow, they didn't manage to get a jump out of that. Not yet, anyway, Nisha.
Nisha. Invis Rune. As the Golem is trying to create some space here, Cinderin. And Matu ready to go. It is 20 minutes, so expect that shard pretty soon for Matu. I mean, how much do you prioritize that before the Silver Edge, actually? It is really important to have. Yeah, Golem is dead, but it's okay.
Golem, get you going.
There'll be another one soon.
Sorry, you were asking about the Silver Edge and Tiny?
Yeah, when do you prioritize the shard? Because I feel like it is quite important.
Good question. I think probably now that you had these 2 kills that you just got, you might want to get the Silver Edge first and keep the snowball rolling. I think if it's less of an active game from you, where you're just more farm-centric, you get the shard as soon as possible. Under these conditions, I would imagine he will finish the silver first so he can just find bigger and more frequent kills.
Toronto Tokyo picks up an Orchid, by the way, so a little bit later one, didn't prioritize it first. Obviously, we talked about the Yules on Toronto, or on Nisha.
Who's your
and
Orchid,
the BKB.
though?
Yeah, he has to go for the backline. It's got to be like an Elder Titan or something.
He kind of has to Orchid Shadow Demon or the save comes out, right? But Puppey does have a Ghost Scepter, so he can't solo kill him anyway, and Sven can't kill him either. If Puppey is quick on the Ghost, he can counterplay a lot of the stuff that Team Spirit offer up here from their team fight, except the Skewer, of course, which will get him killed. So they can Orchid Skewer him. That's a lot of stuff to use just to set up for the 5, though. And any other target can potentially be saved or at least delayed by Puppey. Storm can't solo kill Lina with the Orchid anymore as Nisha got the BKB. Obviously been playing from ahead against the Storm the whole game. And if Storm wants to solo kill Lina, you need to get that Orchid before that BKB timing. But Secret are effectively conceding Roche at this point by playing the bottom half, and Spirit will say thank you very much, get an Aegis on their Storm.
Yep, very important. Probably the best hero in the entire game to get the Aegis, but it is a hero that has not that much net worth, so it is a bit of a trade-off actually this game, I'm surprised to say, just because the net worth on Yataro is crazy high right now. And Matu
cleans up the wave. He did get the shard first.
Okay, so has the shard in tow, so the tree is going nowhere unless he wants it to go somewhere, Cinderin.
Yep.
There's Nisha working on the Shadow Blade now, so from Secret's perspective, is it just, I was going to ask if they're going to wait out the Aegis, but it looks like Matu wants to at least get some, I was going to say chip damage, but not with Tiny. Fortifications pop, and Poshka's in the area and has this curse available, but needs to find a target next to Tiny so that Matu kills a teammate. Friendly fire is definitely a thing.
Oh, they effectively get a deny out of that. I don't think Spirit are too happy with this. They TP'd down multiple heroes and they didn't even get to mount the defense that they were trying to set up. And they will now have to just back off and go top. So, at the very least, the deny, probably a little bit of a little thing going their way. Not too great, but...
Ags online. We have the Wolf Bite ability in the game.
Oh, boy.
So, Matu...
Did PSG LGD have Elder Titan in that game yesterday? I don't think they did. I think they were against it, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So... expect if Elder Titan is also in the play together with Lycan Tiny, that the Tiny will ignore all the armor too, effectively dealing pure damage as a wolf with a tree.
This is the most... I mean, if you told me about this hybrid a few years ago, Cinder, I wouldn't have believed you. There we go. Matu is now a rock wolf hybrid with a tree that you can't see right now, but it's there. It's not his tail. That's a tail and a tree somewhere, Cinderin.
Yep.
Hidden.
Not sure where he...
In the depths of his bowels, probably.
He has a very big mouth.
Probably coming out of his mouth, yeah. That's what I would imagine, at least. Lore-wise, it makes a lot of sense, you know? I don't know what's so funny about this act. It's just, it never gets old, I feel like.
Gonna TP bot. Looks like Secret will still want to make another move here. So they didn't really accomplish much with that first shapeshift, or the first wolf bite. It's up again in 40 seconds, but at the very least, for Secret, Team Spirit aren't really progressing on the map. They still haven't taken the mid-tier 1, 25 minutes in. They're not really opening up that much, so the obvious play for them is to go top, which is now being marked by Yotaro. He wants to go there. Has to be really careful, though, with the flank angles that Secret's lineup can find in that area. Secret do have a pre-placed obs that is expiring in 10. Might want to get a new one up there for... When you lose that safe lane tower, getting a ward somewhere around your outpost can have really high impact because the enemy team will often play up there. Sometimes you can find some like cute spots that are less likely to be dewarded, and that could lead to something big here. But Secret have lost the area entirely, and now that means you just concede this tower. We'll be going the way of Toronto, Tokyo. Aegis for another minute and 40.
Yeah, and they're
maybe
trying
Secret
to
just want to wait for that.
They only have one tower to the name, like you're saying. So this Aegis, it feels like more of a denial at this stage. You only basically get a tier 2. I mean, the tier 1 is still up for Team Secret. But you can see Matu picked up a Blink Dagger. Not sure if Spirit has seen this yet, but you have a double damage now with Shapeshift. And it could be a Blink reveal for Matu.
I saw this yesterday.
I think we've seen this many times.
It did a lot of damage.
All right, here comes the Wolf Rock. Matu has his BKB ready to go, pops that Shadow Blade. But Team Spirit, they know. But does Mira know? Is he? No, he's dead. Oh my God, he dies in midair. Double damage.
That is actually pretty close to Little Red Riding Hood there. That was on Dark Willow. I'll take that. That's
my God, Maposhka gets off the Winter Skirts, but it's not going to last that long because he's all alone. Matu, he throws the tree and destroys him. Cold Embrace saving Collapse for now, but you have to think that he will die here. Gets tossed up into the air. Matu pops the BKB, but a lot of damage coming from Itaro. The Godstrike's actually ripping through this rock. He's going to get the kill. Nisha looks next on the target. He gets inside the trees. Nice vision from Toronto, Tokyo. Double kill for Yotaro. Collapse is still somehow alive here. Puppy getting some cover thanks to the Echo Stop, but triple kill for Yotaro. He's just bringing everyone down to their knees. Out of nowhere, Yotaro. I mean, he's been top net worth for a while, Cinderin, and it's really showing in that fight.
Such a heads-up play there from Maposhka to not die, right? They kind of got a little bit desperate with the dive. Matumba thought he could kill him no problem, but the 2 swings he got in were not critical strikes. And Maposhka got to reset out, dodge the tree throw as well. You're going to see the replay here. So the 2 swings come in here. Curse. None of them crits. Now he wants to throw the tree. That gets blinked. And this is where Matsu probably just gets out, right? But Nisha has committed in from the back, so they feel a little bit forced to go. Great Cold Embrace. And the damage just isn't enough there onto Collapse.
Nope.
And then Yotaro just goes in cleanup crew, no problem.
Yotaro getting another kill to his name here onto Yapzor. And that was past the tier 2 towers, and the tier 1 was still remaining until just now. As Gem is on the deck.
Yeah, crucial hold for Spirit there. Could question the dive from Nisha. It's easy to say from our perspective. It looked like they were just going to kill Wyvern on the spot and get more. And he's already in there. Can't really get out with his item build on Lina. He has to try to BKB TP, but you're still playing against RP, so unlikely to work.
And Yotaro now has a Satanic. So, Blink, BKB, Echo Saber, Silver Edge, Satanic. Going for the Swift Blink next. As we see the replay on Yapzor's death here. And Yotaro is just on another level this tournament. His performance, and we've talked a lot about Collapse, and again, the entire team would not be able to get this far without everybody doing their work, but Yotaro, as a position 1, has really shined this tournament. And Nisha and company looking to find their way back in this game. Still pretty even, I would say, 29 minutes in, 3K net worth lead for Spirit. And next Roche, we won't know for a bit. Outpost being taken. Will be successful as Team Spirit are fully smoked right now.
Matu finds a big item here. Got himself the Titan Sliver on Tiny. That's a very big pickup for him.
Yeah.
A lot more damage. The status resist is nice.
Puppy.
He has disc.
Eon Disc procs. Toronto Tokyo goes to the back line looking for Zai. Looks like Puppy gets off the Ghost Scepter as well. Will be brought down eventually. But there's the Laguna Blade with the LSA Nisha. Do they have enough damage? They do. Matu gets the kill. Onto that Sven. Yataro is donezo. Earth Splitter comes out, not doing too much though. Collapse, attempting to get out, but Matu's right clicks are just too much to withstand. Toronto Tokyo creating enough space there. A big fight for Secret. They do lose Nisha, but Yataro at the very least is taken out of the game for a little bit.
Such a huge, like just the itemization from Puppy. Look at how much a difference it makes that he has these exact items. So he has Ghost Scepter to buy the time against that Sven, and then he gets the Demonic Purge and Disruption off because of Aeon Disc. He would have died in the stun if he didn't have that disc, so kind of offering himself up and gets the full counterplay out. Demonic Purge on Sven is such an insane counter. It was talked about on the panel as well, right? They were like, yeah, you got to pick something, and that's the one bad matchup Sven has, and Puppy just showed why there. That Demonic Purge just ruined the Sven's fight, and they burst him down. That was some solid spell casting from the rest of Spirit, though. That could have gone way worse. There was a good curse onto the Lina to at least salvage things somewhat there for Team Spirit.
Toronto Tokyo pushing out the top lane now, as we do have Shard online for Zai, so the Wolves...
Mira gets stopped mid.
Spawning.
This could be a setup for Matu.
Okay. Thunderhide is available there. Oh, the force staff from Matu, but... He's gonna force out his BKB. Mira saving, or getting Cold Embrace for now. Pops the Shadow Realm up, but there's Collapse with the initiation onto Matu, and now the Organ on top of it. He's already used the BKB. Nice save from Puppy for the time being, but Matu's still stuck in a terrible spot right now. Has to just stand his ground, and there's the Terrorize to follow. Big kill for Team Spirit. Looks like Zai is next on their list. And down he goes, Cinderin. Great execution from Team Spirit.
Oh my god, I hope we get a replay of that. What an insane force staff from Collapse there. It wasn't even Mira that he force staffed. It was the Tiny of Matu. The second he blinks in to go for the Avatos combo, he immediately gets offensively force staffed. And that puts him out of position. It doesn't only save Mira, but jeopardizes Tiny, and they do end up getting the kill in the end. That was sick from Collapse, and then he finishes it off with the Blink Skewer too. It doesn't get better than that. That's
Collapse.
Just world
Blink
class.
Dagger's getting canceled perpetually by Puppy. On the other side of the trees, you see the Horn Toss finally being used. Puppy resigned to his death. And Yataro gets another kill to his name.
See a little detail there from Puppy. He backpacks his Aeon Disc. He doesn't want to use the charge on it. He wants to keep the cooldown as low as possible. Knows he's dead anyway. And wants to have it ready when he respawns. But Spirit, all of that momentum right now going their way from these last couple of fights. And you got to keep in mind, it's been Secret initiating these moves and Spirit just reading them and counterplaying them perfectly. Both times now, top and mid, Matu getting punished after having an insane early game. These two deaths set them back so much.
And into the Roche pit they go. Team Spirit, the underdogs of this tournament, could finish this game and go to the grand finals. Yep, the four steps there.
Insane. And then Cold Embrace as well.
right after.
Just so clutch from the supports of Spirit.
Yeah, that is. I cannot believe Mira lives through this entire fight
That is
as
so
well.
crazy. They're going to get the...
Yeah, Wolf is showing this out, but not able to deny anything. So Toronto Tokyo gets the Aegis and a Shard as well. So that's the Overload
high stakes
active.
match here. There's a lot on the line, so you definitely remember the Aegis this time. Team Spirit gonna get that.
Well done.
They gave the Shard to the Storm as well, right? He didn't buy this. He just picked it up and used it. So they get the active Overload.
That's right.
Effectively improving their damage quite a lot. Gives himself some attack speed too, but I think primarily helpful for Sven as well when they initiate together.
Yeah, and he's had that Shard for a little bit on Sven, so can dispel like Yules and whatnot. Pretty helpful. Or killing Nisha specifically, actually. As Matu is in wolf form again. And 9k lead for Team Spirit. They have a pretty firm grasp on this game, Cinderin. Can Secret come back? Yataro jumps in. Puppy, that's the Eon Disc again. And he gets slept a bit here from the Elder Titan, but a big jump from Toronto Tokyo. Ghost Scepter immediately used by Puppy. Looks like he's done again, though. Does have buyback. But again, that Eon Disc is going to be on cooldown for quite a while now. And Yataro wants to make use of this God's Strength. It is running out, though. Looks like they're not going to go for the high ground yet. Still 3.5 minutes on this Aegis. They don't need to get over-aggressive here. We've seen a lot of teams do that this tournament, in fact.
Yep.
And really, their only high ground is Sven, and I would assume he'd want to be ulted in most of these cases.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
And
just like a small window.
There's a lot of risk involved with having the Sven hit the tower when you're playing against Blink Toss, right? Like, it's kind of the skewer problem that we've seen teams run into in the base as well, that you are facing.
Yeah.
The Wolf is hunting. There's a gem on the Storm, though, so Toronto Tokyo should be able to react in time as long as he is not under a ward, which he is right now, but he will find that one. And Matsu will redirect his attention to Mira. Seems a bit hesitant to jump, and he's too slow.
That's a very quick Shadow Realm again. So Mira with the quick fingers, Matu gets nothing out of that.
Opted to go for the Howl cast first with Lycan at the same time. I don't know if that was a bit of a tell. I am not sure if Mira noticed that, but either way, he gets out, makes the right read.
And look at the bounce back from Toronto Tokyo. Look at his net worth, Cinder.
Yep.
It was not looking good for him halfway through the game. Obviously, Yataro creating a lot of space, and the rest of his team as well, for him to make this massive comeback. But second net worth, I would not have thought that would be the case at 35 minutes. Just masterful play from Team Spirit. And again, whoever wins this game will be playing PSG LGD in the grand finals of TI-10. So,
and something we maybe haven't touched on so much, right? One of the key things for Secret in this game, compared to a lot of the games that they do well in, Nisha has been so quiet.
Oh, they might have found Matu. Does have the BKB, Avitas to follow, but Collapse gets saved. And Matu is just completely alone, Cinder, just looking for some sort of collateral, but it's not going to happen. Down goes Matu. Does have buyback, however, and expect Team Spirit to force this out. I mean, they had to use basically nothing.
Yeah,
they
can
still
take
have
the two
God
bottom
strength.
towers for free if they want to, but they might look for more. They have another smoke on the Wyvern. Sven's God Strength is ready with Swift Blink.
Yeah, Toronto Tokyo gets the Orchid, but doesn't have a whole lot of mana to speak of. Still with the Aegis intact, and they're going to use it. It did cost Secret the Laguna Blade, and there's the Winter's Curse. Not going to last too long, though. Nisha getting jumped, but there's the BKB. And Team Spirit still super happy with this exchange. 13k net worth lead now. As Matu, I would assume they want to force this buyback.
The Wolves in the mid lane are going to try to cut this wave. Zai. Making it more difficult for them to reach, but they will kill them off now with the Storm to save those precious seconds of the siege.
Oh boy. Arcane Rune on Toronto Tokyo as well.
Yep. BKB is ready as well. And they know there's no BKB on Lina, and that's big. Puppy has to be ready here to save Nisha. They're going to jump him at basically all costs.
High ground defense is there, Team Secret. Oh, Toronto Tokyo goes really deep, and there's a big skewer from Collapse onto two. Good lord, double kill for Yataro. Basically in just one Echo Saber double slap. Absolutely filthy stuff here from Yataro again. And a great initiation from Collapse. And this means likely a mid-rax to follow, but Puppy's going to get initiated on. There's the Eon Disc to proc, the buyback now onto Nisha. Matu has spawned naturally. And it looks like they might actually be able to defend this, as the God Strength is running out here shortly, Cinderin. Matu in wolf form again. But there's that really annoying Curse Crown with the Shard into the Bramble. And Team Spirit, oh my, they are so close, Cinderin, to getting to the grand finals here.
It's unbelievable. If you would have asked me the odds of this before the tournament, of Spirit getting to the finals, man.
Oh, Matu, all right.
Well, let's not
Finding
count
Mira
the
has the
before
extra
the
tosses
eggs.
to work with. That's 2 deaths now in quick succession in favor of Team Secret, but still the buybacks remain. We'll see if Secret can force these out.
Seems relatively unlikely. It's so scary for them to go to the enemy high ground at this point with how much pressure they're under, and also their gold, right, on their heroes. So Tiny doesn't have buyback gold, Lycan doesn't have buyback gold. Shadow Demon does. Yapsor used his previously on the Elder Titan. Very quiet game from him as well on that ET, just very low net worth. He's not very farmed, hasn't been involved in too many kills. It is a difficult ET game, in my opinion, against the Storm as well as that Max Cure and just the general vision that Team Spirit have been playing with the whole game. But really, both Yapsor and Nisha just not having the games that they're used to, and that's what's made this so hard. Yeah, Monster's been caught off a couple of times and made some mistakes, these other two players just haven't found their footing in the game, largely.
I mean, look at the net worth. Yapsor is literal bottom by a long shot.
Far,
That is so uncharacteristic. That I literally cannot remember that ever happening.
It's very rare, and it's also, if you think about the way Secret prioritized these heroes, I think having all the gold on Puppey has been massively impactful. I think his net worth has been put to really good use, but in some of these strategies we've seen from PSG LGD where they play a 4 Elder Titan, he ends up having an Aghanims, and he just becomes a fourth core. That's just not the case for Yapsor here. He doesn't ever have the opportunity to really go in and get much done. Maybe he doesn't feel like it was an option anyway because of the hero matchups. Like maybe he just thinks it's too hard against Wyvern, Sven, and Meg to ever do it.
Puppey has definitely survived through a lot of this, but Yataro now has a nullifier, so you can dispel Eon Disc. And, Puppey is going to get the disruption off, gets stuck inside the bramble, pops the Ghost Scepter preemptively, but he's going to die shortly after.
Great curse!
Yep, that's a huge curse onto 3 heroes as Team Secret get RP from Collapse, and the right clicks are there from Yataro. Triple kill for him, make it an ultra kill. Will he get another rampage at TI-10? Absolutely! Yataro does it again, Cinderin! Holy Jesus! Yataro and company are right at the edge now of going to the TI-10 Grand Finals.
Secret have 0 buybacks. If they just get a wave into the base and go for towers, it's over. They could finish maybe even before Lycan responds.
Oh, they're definitely going to go for this. 100%.
It's
and
over.
They're going to call GG. The underdog story is still alive. Team Spirit move on to the Grand Finals. What a performance. Team Spirit, man. It's hard not to be rooting for them right now because they have been the underdogs for so long. Even in just their region. It's been VP the entire year that we've been talking about. But Team Spirit showing up big time now.
And again, the storyline, it just feels like it's such a repeat story of TI6 and TI8 with DC and OG respectively, with this underdog team that gets knocked down in the lower bracket. Remember, Team Spirit got knocked down in round 1. They lost to IG 2-1. They've crawled through the lower bracket the whole way.
That's true.
To now get to the grand finals. They've just beaten one top team after the other to get there. They've got so much momentum going their way. And in many ways, if you were to compare it to a previous TI, I think TI6 is the most similar one. Now it's against the absolute giants in PSG LGD. At TI6, it was Wings. 2 of the players from that Wings squad is now playing for PSG LGD.
That's right. I remember that vividly. We'll see if it's a repeat performance or not. But with that, let's see what the panel has to say about this absolute god-tier performance from Team Spirit.
Well, that was a god-tier performance from our casters, Cinderin and Sunsan. Thank you so much, gentlemen. As you can see, the lower bracket has been conquered by Team Spirit. And it's fair to say they have gone from 0-2 on day 1 to top 2 here at TI-10. And it's not something that we expected from the start of that group performance. Lacoste, your mind is blown.
Yeah, pretty much. It's an unbelievable performance by such a young squad. Like this storyline, them coming into this tournament by being, everyone was saying this is the second best team coming up from the Eastern Europe. Then they knock out the Virtus Pro. Now they knock out the Team Secret. Suddenly they're gonna be in the grand finals. I don't know. The Dota is such a weird game where there's so many Cinderella stories that happen throughout the history.
This one feels really good, though, I gotta say, because they did show hope, and it's like the perfect representation of the DPC season. Season 1, they looked okay, they had good moments, but they were sloppy, too. Season 2, they were looking better, and then all of a sudden they show up and have a slightly rough start, but then they just get to prove themselves, and those are the best stories.
Evie, I want to come to you in a moment, but right now we do have to head down to the sidelines because Avo is standing by with Puppey.